Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, and lovers of drones everywhere, welcome to Thursday Night Live. Oh my goodness, it's Ed Ricker.
Welcome. Hey. What's up, Ken?
How you doing, Ed? Welcome to the show. Maybe people
Thank you
are
very much for having me.
expecting Kelly. Maybe you're expecting Ashley. Well, today is kind of a FPV special. Wait, don't go anywhere, photography drone people. This is going to be very, very interesting. Lots of...
You're going to really like some of the things that we got coming
Oh
up.
my gosh. This is the most guest-heavy show I've ever had. Today on the show...
Go ahead, Ken.
Scott Vanderpool. He is the guy out of Pittsburgh who had his drone shot, and the drone landed. There's a whole big story with the police, and we're going to have Jason Shepard on from RemotePilot101.com to give us a little insight as to the legalities. We're going to talk about Title 18 of the United States Code. And we're all going to learn something, aren't we, Joshua Bardwell? Yeah. And then we're going to have Andre and Daniel from Mini Drone Studio. They are watching the show right now in Stuttgart, Germany. Those are the cats that flew through the Mercedes-Benz Museum. We'll get a little bit behind the scenes from them. And then Drew Camden, LeDrib, Rotor Riot president and FPV god. He will join us a little bit later on. And I want to thank very much the first few super chats. I think we got one from Metro Drones for $20. Thank you, Metro
Nice.
Drones. And we got one from Bojangles for 99 cents. Now, I'll go back and read that Metro Drones one here in just a second, but I want to thank all of our sponsors, but especially the first sponsor we ever had. They keep the lights on. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm talking about the Cadillac of processed meat, a pigeon, a jerky.
Here we go.
You'll enjoy pigeon jerky, the Cadillac of processed meats.
Yeah.
You'll enjoy pigeon jerky, and you'll give your family a treat. It's balanced nutrition to help them grow.
Yeah.
And it's full of fiber to make them go.
Here we go.
You'll enjoy pigeon jerky.
Pigeon jerky, the Cadillac of processed meat. Yeah. Maybe you're new to the stream. Maybe you don't know what the hell that was. Well,
It's the best jerky around.
oh, it's so good. In fact, I don't know if you knew this, Ed, but I sell the stuff. You could get some official Ken Heron pigeon jerky. Jerky,
That's very cool.
Jerky not included. It's just the bag and a label. Yeah. So,
Okay.
But,
I think of pigeon jerky every time I go to the supermarket, and I look at the jerky aisle and I just say, wow, why is none of this half off? Because I don't buy jerky at full price. But I wish pigeon jerky was there. I definitely buy that one.
Never buy your pigeon jerky retail. That's anybody that knows jerky knows that.
And
Bojangles. Hey, thanks, man, for the 99 cent. Appreciate it. And he did it again with a poop emoji. Thanks, man. Mark's Drone Works. $38.99. That's an odd amount, but thank you very much. I think that's Australian. Great lineup, Ken. Looking forward to the show. Your support is very, very much appreciated. There's quite the electric bill here in the YouTube mothership here.
How many screens you got there, Ken? How many is that? 5?
Well, I got this one over here that has the chat.
Oh, the vertical display, of course.
Yeah,
You
and
need that
then
vertical display.
I got this one here that has the Wirecast, and then this one up here tells me my subscribers, which I never refresh every 5 minutes.
Now, what are you at? I know everyone could probably see, but you're what, 100 and what? Let's say guess 117. I can't see right now. I'm guessing.
Oh.
117K.
115.
Oh, you'll be there soon, Ken.
Where am I going to be? How many do you have, Mr. Fancy Britches?
I don't know, like 140.
I don't want to hear it. La, not listening. Eat
Hey,
more
you got
possum.
your plaque though, so you're no longer stealing mine. So that's all I care about. You're not creeping into my room stealing my 100K plaque.
Yeah, that's right.
That?
You got your one of those early on.
Yeah, there it is.
And
I should put it right there. That's a good idea.
I use special effects to steal Ed's. Eat more possum with a $2 super chat. Thank you. Pigeon is my second favorite meat.
Second favorite.
I won't ask what the first is. And Bojangles keeps pooping it up for 99 cents. Thank you, sir. All right, there's a lot of news, and we're going to get right into it right now with Jeff Sills.
Stop the music. It's time for news.
Let's head over into the drone newsroom. and find out everything you need to know about drones in the dronosphere. Jeff Sills, what's happening, buddy?
Oh, not too much. Yeah, there was a lot of news all over the place, actually. I mean, this is news for, I think, every genre, FPV, camera drones, you name it. So, but tonight's drone news is brought to you by GPC Custom Drone Cases.
Whoa. You take it easy. We'll let you do it. Yeah, we got to play this again. Yeah.
Tonight's drone news is brought to you by GPC Custom Drone Cases, providing you with the highest quality of professional cases so your investment is always protected when it's not in the air. Custom cases are also available by request. GPC, designed for life, be original and be blue. Use discount code TNL10 for a 10% discount on all purchases at GoProfessionalCases.com. Link in the description.
Yeah.
Isn't there a T-shirt with that picture somewhere floating around?
There actually is. Thank you, Ed, for asking. You can get this T-shirt. News in the front, hair in the back. The sexiest news. In fact, stand by. I appreciate you asking because my Teespring store is now open. And ladies, you know you're going to want to get one of these because, well, all of your friends will be jealous. Look at that. Yeah.
There you go.
You can get this on a mug. You get this on socks. You can get it on anything you want. But you can't get the real thing because he's already promised to someone else.
I just need air travel tickets so that I can go up there and delete all of that stuff.
Hey,
anyway.
Hold on, Genesee, who's not from Tennessee, unfortunately. $20 super chat. A larger poop. Thank you, Jenna. You're a class act. As always. I think she's referring to the poop emoji. Anyway, yes.
All right, so to start off, Scott Lee was obviously flying his Mavic Pro recreationally in western Pennsylvania, as has been reported, when he heard a shot from a rifle not too far away, and at the time he was adjusting his camera angle at 389 feet, under the legal limit. After the shot, the drone appeared to be normal. He continued to fly the drone and even decided to fly it back. So later on in the show, we'll have him as a guest and hear the nitty-gritty details. But me personally, as a aficionado of the Mavic Pro, I was extremely impressed with the fact that this drone returned to home with this kind of damage.
Look at that.
Safe.
Right.
Yeah, we'll talk to him at length with Jason Shepard here in just a little bit.
Yeah. So, okay. So to skip ahead, we'll go ahead. Four people were charged recently for trying to fly a drone into a prison in Ontario.
2 Mississauga men are in police custody after a drone flew over the walls of Collins Bay Prison in Kingston early Wednesday morning. Police say the drone was carrying contraband.
Yeah, the drones are a huge issue.
Drones have led to an increase in drugs getting into prisons, leading to overdoses. He says these arrests are rare, but it's a step in the right direction to combat the issue.
We are trying to come up with technology for this very reason.
For Jeff Reitzel, he's no stranger to the topic, running a drone company in Kingston.
This drone in particular here has a flight range of 7 kilometers.
According to Reitzel, there are rules when piloting a drone. Transport Canada restricts drones from exceeding 500 meters, and the app used for the drone shows where it can and cannot fly over. But for those who don't follow the rules, Reitzel believes he has a way to prevent that.
One thing that would be nice to see is to have a geofence around all prison airspace by the drone manufacturer, where it would lock out all off-the-shelf criminals.
The Union for Correction Officers says that Collins Bay is next in line for either security netting or advanced technology to deter drone drops.
I'm hoping this is a sign for the future, that we're finally catching up to, detecting the drones. And
nearby businesses tell Global News that this is nothing new. A drone was found atop a hardware store across the street from the prison months prior, likely en route to Collins Bay. As for this latest drop, it's not known who alerted authorities. Justin Paul Hurlbutt and Michael Habib were arrested and charged with conspiracy to commit an indictable offense. And OPP confirmed that an inmate is expected to be charged as well.
I wonder what the process for getting a location geofence is, how hard it is to do.
Not sure. That's Ontario, so that's Canada. I know that here in the United States, they've been pushing really hard to get the prisons geofenced, and it makes perfect sense to do that. A lot of prisons have counter drone technologies that have been added to them to force the drones to land. They even have a system that has speakers that audibly detect the drones as they're coming in and track them and send the information to the prison officers' phones, telling them what direction it's coming and where it's at. So there's a lot available to the prisons to be able to stop this. I think the cute one that I thought was great was they were devising an idea of putting nets over the areas where the prisoners were, so that if anything was dropped from a drone, it would never make it to the ground.
You know,
So
the
that
world tends to kind of follow suit whatever the FAA does. So I'm wondering if Canada and other countries will probably get into their own version of remote ID.
Possibly.
If you know,
It is interesting. There's a park that I fly at quite frequently, and there's a prison right next to it. And that park is one of only 6 in Raleigh out of like 90 something that allow a drone to fly. So you're flying right next to a prison, and yet it's the only place, or one of the only places you can fly in Raleigh legally. It's kind of funny. But I do get the warning when I with the DJI app, it'll come up and say I'm near a prison. But yeah, I don't think it's geofence.
yeah. Maybe we'll ask Jason Shepard about how to get stuff geofenced.
Yeah. So Google has been looking for opportunities to be able to put their wing delivery drone to action, and the latest one comes out of Christiansburg, Virginia. Students there have been impacted by the COVID-19 pandemic. They haven't been able to get to the library to be able to get books to read. So Google has set up a bookmobile of sorts using the wing to deliver library books to kids.
As a school librarian, it is extremely important to me to have connections with my students. So when we went to a period of remote learning, that became a little bit harder to do. How was I going to keep that connection with my students without actually being in the same physical space with them? When I first thought about this, I went to Dr. Mark Meyer, our superintendent of schools, and told him that I had a really, really exciting idea, and that was to use drone to provide library books to our students. Libraries provide a critical and unique service, and during this time of remote learning, our job is even more important. We need to use the available technologies to continue to provide our students with access to our resources. And Wing has provided an outlet for us to do exactly that.
That's really cool. But you know the kids are going to be like just ordering books so they can see the drone, right?
Yeah.
Right, you know.
Yeah.
But Billy, you already read that book. Maybe. You know. Okay.
All right. So
Oh, hold on. Flea Flicker, before it gets too far. Thank you very much for the $10 super chat. Good evening all, says Flea Flicker, the flicker of fleas. Thank you. Back to you in the newsroom.
All right. So a man in Blackburn, England got a very interesting surprise when he was charging his eHang Ghost drone, and the battery that he put on the charger exploded within an hour of being plugged in. The man noticed the power went out in the house, went to investigate, and found the drone on fire in the living room. So he was able to put the fire out, and there was damage done to the living room area, et cetera. Insurance company and et cetera are going to work with him, as well as the Amazon seller who sold him the drone. They're also going to help participate in the investigation to make sure that this guy gets some assistance. So I thought that was really cool.
Isn't eHang the same company that's making the passenger drone? Yeah, they are. So this is probably not good PR for them. I'm just saying.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah.
Well, at least he was able to put it out. I always think, where would I throw that battery? I mean, in the fireplace? I mean, if I can't make it out the window or the door, I guess the fireplace is the nearest option.
Right. And Ed,
Glad he was able to put it out though?
What is your opinion on pusher drones as opposed to the regular kind? Yeah, I say regular, but
Pusher drones now?
yeah, you see the propellers are inverted.
Oh, I see what you're saying.
Yeah.
Never tried one. I guess
No.
I have no opinion on it.
Aren't some
I'd
tiny
be
hawks?
interested to try it one time.
Some tiny hawks are pusher, aren't they?
I guess you're right. The original Tiny Hawk is. But to be honest, I flew that thing. It didn't seem to affect the flight. I will say, though, maybe when I was trying to take off and it might have been carpet with maybe if you own a dog or something, or you got a girlfriend with long hair, who knows? It could be getting wrapped up in those props a little bit easier. But yeah, I mean, I guess that's the only one. That's a good point, Ken. I do own one of those drones.
Yeah, girlfriend with long hair. That's a problem I won't. I don't think I'll have anytime soon. Just a quick side note. Maybe you guys have seen my channel for a while, and you notice a distinct absence of a girlfriend. I had been married briefly. I've had girlfriends, but I'm so busy with all this that I just, I'd rather give my attention to you guys. However, I did hop on one of those apps. If you're interested, just a quick side note. It was like plenty of something, and I was chatting with this lady, and she sent me a picture of herself. She was like 11 or 12 or something, and I happened to comment. And if you saw, I'm not going to show the picture because that's not fair, but there was a picture she sent, and she looked exactly like Screech from Saved by the Bell, and I told her that, and then I never heard from her again. So I shall not be getting propellers stuck in anyone's hair for quite some time.
I gotcha.
Yeah,
that's interesting. You said she sent you a picture from when she was 11 or 12?
Yeah, we were exchanging like kid pictures.
Oh, okay.
And, yeah.
Oh, okay. It got to that point. I got you. I was like, oh, okay.
And then that was the end of that. No more Ken.
Understandable.
Droning Harry, thank you for the $10 super chat. Is a poster of Mr. Sills available? Oh, now you're talking. Now that is a great idea. Maybe you don't want a shirt with this. Idea. And I have other memes with this same picture available on Teespring. There's a whole sexy newsman collection. I want to put one in Mrs. Droning's work office, and the ladies deserve to see all of that manliness. Yes, darts not included. Back to you in the newsroom.
Yeah, big enough target.
Oh.
Okay. Anyway, so back in December 2018, if you guys weren't aware, Gatwick Airport had a problem with a drone that apparently shut the airport down for several days. There was a family that was actually charged with that particular incident, that were wrongly arrested and wrongly imprisoned for that particular thing. And as of recently, an out-of-court settlement has been put in place, giving them £200,000 from the police department in regards to that false arrest.
Good.
Good.
You know, it used to be, and I say this every time it seemed like there was a whole year period with anything that flew near an airport was like, it's a drone. Remember years and years ago before drones, it was a UFO. I saw a UFO, but now it's drones. It's whatever.
It still happens today. We still have it. I mean, Madrid, Canada, down in Central America, there's constant news stories of airports shutting down for an hour because somebody saw a drone or a pilot reported a drone on landing, etc.
But before police arrest or charge anybody, hopefully this will make them think twice about it. We got to hurry along with the news there, Jeff. I hate to push you along because we got people in Germany. It's 2 a.m. there. We're going to get to them. So we can't have the news be an hour long this time.
The next one is for Ed. And Ed, this one's for you because researchers have come up with a way of training drones to perform the same flips, rolls, and loops that FPV pilots are currently capable of doing.
Before we, whose dog is that?
That's mine. It's our husky. He is talking to me at the moment to let me know that he wants something.
Okay.
Of course, the other multiple people in the house have not heard the dog to help me.
Yeah. So for those who don't,
that you had the facial expression made it look like it was something on your end, but I got you. It's Jeff.
Yeah, I didn't want people to think that's
people in the chat were asking what that noise was.
Is Ken hungry? Is that Ken's stomach? Ken, get a snack. Anyway, okay, acrobatic drones. There you go.
Oh yeah, go back with that blasphemy. Go ahead, Jeff.
Rotors is extremely challenging. Maneuvers such as the loop, matty flip or barrel roll require high thrust and extreme angular accelerations that push the platform to its physical limits. Human drone pilots require many years of practice to safely master such agile maneuvers. Yet a tiny mistake could make the platform lose control and brutally crash. We show for the first time that a vision-based autonomous quadrotor that only has access to onboard sensing and computation is capable of flying acrobatic maneuvers with accelerations of up to 3G. In spite of the perception and control challenges raised by such accelerations, our drones can fly all maneuvers in a robust and reliable fashion. We ensure seamless transfer from simulation to the real quadrotor by employing appropriate abstractions of the sensory input. Using such abstractions, the policy generalizes to different indoor and outdoor environments, as well as to different physical drones. Compared to the traditional approaches based on estimation and control, the learned policy makes the drone fly more consistently and precisely, while reducing the odds of a crash by up to 25%.
And it also reduces the fun by 100%.
Yeah, that's a good point there, Ken.
Yeah.
Well, it's cool that they got the technology. I mean, I'm sure they can do it. It's kind of like maybe a real human voice versus a computerized voice. You know, you can kind of tell it's a computer doing it. Maybe. I haven't seen the footage. I mean, all we saw basically was the line of sight of it doing it, you know, third person view. But yeah, it's interesting. Interesting tech, that's for sure.
Yeah.
And that type of technology, being able to do complex maneuvers like that, could be applied to any number of different ways that we use drones currently, from drones that go in and survey areas that have a lot of obstacles and being able to avoid it, to having drones that do the displays, you know, the sky displays, and have it do something far more ornate than the existing ones can, because they're able to do these acrobatic maneuvers. So I love the idea, and I can't wait to see that sort of AI technology take place further into the genre.
Yeah,
you know how sometimes we'll see those the big groups, the swarms of drones that are creating an image or like an animation in real life.
Yeah.
But they're always moving really slow because they're all choreographed, but they're all moving really slow. I wonder with this technology if you can get something that actually moves a lot faster and is a little more impressive. Who knows?
Yep.
It's all about the battery life with those cluster drones, though, because they've got the lights. They've got, if they give them beefier motors, then they won't be able to stay in the air a lot longer. I've never seen a show in person. I would love to see a cluster drone show in person.
Well, as they become more popular, I'm pretty sure you will.
Yeah.
The West Midlands Police Task Force recently took down a weed operation that was running out of an unused pub in Willinghall Town Center. They seized more than $600,000 worth of weed during the raid, and the way that they found this place was by using a drone with a thermal camera that picked up the hot spots in the building where they were growing the product. Thermally equipped drones apparently have another great tactic, which they can find marijuana.
Yeah. Yeah, you can't hide the heat too well.
Yep. DJI has been putting out some new information about ideas. You know, they put out patents. That's what it is. Yeah, they put out patents. And DJI released a patent recently, actually two, but one of them we'll talk right now, is a patent to have magnets put on their drones to assist them in being able to land on docking stations.
Oh, that's cool.
Interesting.
Yeah.
So the idea is, obviously, they want to be able to tap into the same type of technology like the Skydio does with its automatic landing system, that they would have some sort of a mobile platform that had a magnetic field that would help the drone attach to it. So I'm interested to see if it actually does come to fruition. We've seen lots of patents from DJI that never saw the light of day, but that was interesting.
Yeah, and along those lines, and I know that Drew is watching right now from Rotor Riot. I've seen them and Zoe sticking using 3D drones, sticking to like billboards and walls and stuff. I wonder if they could build something using a magnet that could stick to like metal water towers and stuff, and then peel themselves off again.
Yeah, I was going to say, peeling yourself back off is
that would be the thing. Maybe you know, you could turn it, and I don't know, that'd be something fun to put together, wouldn't it?
Well, I'm thinking about like landing on a boat or something. You know, those people, like, they're always trying to find ways to safely take off and land on maybe a small boat if you're out at sea or whatever. Maybe that's something that would help with the landing onto the boat that you're on. I don't know.
Yeah,
interesting application.
There's actually a company that makes a product that goes in the dashboard of your boat, replaces some of the screens, that gives you a DJI control on the dashboard of the boat. You can have the Mavic sitting out on the bow, and you can fly the drone from your deck without needing a remote, which I thought was actually really cool. So the chances or the opportunities to be able to put that magnetic technology to work is pretty immense.
Before we get too far, I got to thank some people for their super chats. Thomas Reese with a $5 super sticker.
Stickers, I like stickers, yes I do.
And Mike Miller, he says, deliver me War and Peace, please, with the book drone. Yeah, you might have to limit yourself to stuff other than the unabridged dictionary. And Bojangles with a $2 super chat. Buy up Aunt Jemima products before they're gone, or they change. Thank you very much, Bojangles. Your show can never replace a great relationship. Well, that's $20 worth of great advice there. I appreciate it, and you're definitely not making me feel sad. I appreciate that, because when this show's over, it's just me and my dog. And it gives me unconditional
And $20.
love. And $20. You're right, Ed.
Yeah.
And Anubis Arts, TJ Grady with a $5 super chat. Thank you. Jeff, is that a big bag peanut butter cups to your right? Not going to help you win the challenge. Yeah. We started this weight loss challenge that kind of petered out. And I remember talking with Jeff a few days ago, and I said, what kind of exercises are you doing? He goes, oh, about 5 ounces at a time lifting. So I guess that's
it
over.
also didn't help that I threw my back out yesterday, which is going to slow me down quite a bit. So
yeah.
But I'll get back to it.
All right.
All right. So Quanternium Technologies released a video recently showing the potential for its long endurance drone by delivering a spare tire for your car.
Okay. Now every time I get into my car, it has an extra spare tire. Ladies. Go on, Jeff. What's the idea behind this?
So the idea, this is just a demonstration primarily to show how much weight this thing is actually able to carry, and of course the distance. And to be able to carry a spare tire is pretty impressive. That's a considerable amount of weight. And being able to use this as an out-of-box example of what this drone is capable of doing with no modifications is really impressive.
What country is this?
I believe this was in Spain.
Okay, because it's not the United States, for sure.
Now,
although
the Hybrix 2.
Yeah, go ahead.
The Hybrix 2.1 is the name of the drone. It has a flight time of 2 hours. It's a hybrid design that uses fast refueling capabilities, and it's easy for transportation. For maximum payloads of 10 kilograms, maximum speed of about 60 kilometers an hour. And a cruise speed of 50 kilometers an hour. The drone uses a 2-stroke engine that has a combination of 95 octane fuel and a 4% oil mix, while the batteries are just normal LiPo 6-cell batteries or 6S batteries.
Now that looks like it could pass the toddler test. Any drone that can lift a toddler, hats off to you.
Yes,
that's a test.
And I don't know, do toddlers weigh more than spare tires? Depends on the toddler, I guess, huh?
Good question.
Yeah.
I wonder how stable that is when it's hanging like that. Especially in the wind. I wonder if that starts swinging. I've tried to carry things before with a drone, and it ended up overcompensating so much. But I guess if it's long enough,
it's just a pendulum.
Okay.
There's no way. That's not practical. No. And then, how much is it going to cost to send you your spare tire? No,
right.
No. That's a no. That's a no. That'll never happen.
Well, and it's not necessarily an emergency. So
no.
All right. Recently in California and the San Joaquin River, a father and daughter were out canoeing when it capsized. A drone was used to be able to help locate the two and assisted in saving them. They were used by the Contra Costa Fire Department. This is video from the drone as part of the operation to be able to locate and rescue them after they capsized.
That's good. Good news. All kinds of great uses for drones.
Right.
Yeah.
This
good.
The same person that's going to be like, you're spying on me. If that person's out in the water and the drone guides help to them, then they'll be like, oh, okay, well, drones are okay, I guess. Oh, that just makes
That's how it works.
Yeah.
As long as it's not near my house.
Yeah.
All right. All right. So we talked about this a while back, but the technology has improved considerably. Aircraft maintenance hangars in Singapore are using drones to scan aircraft as part of the inspection process. And they've improved the quality of these scans to be able to detect deformations in the aircraft, as well as to be able to log areas of the aircraft that they feel need to have extra inspection. I mean, if you've ever seen the work that they have to do on the inspections of these aircraft, it can take weeks to do this work. And to be able to come along with a drone and scan it quickly and be able to find exactly those areas, at least externally, that you need to focus on is a big game changer in the sense of how much time versus cost it is to the airlines to be able to maintain these planes.
That is wonderful. I bet the people in the stepladder industry are mad, though, right?
Yeah.
Damn drones!
Okay, so Dubai recently honored their COVID-19 frontline heroes with a drone message.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, Dubai always does this kind of stuff right. They are a promotional machine, Dubai. And they love lighting stuff up, don't they?
Oh, yeah. And when you have that kind of money to throw away, yeah. They got lots of cash.
It's pretty epic looking.
Yeah.
Yeah, they did a good job on this one. I thought it was very impressive.
So they're closing down the street so they can spell something in the street for the COVID frontline workers, right?
Yes.
All right. Any more information there, Jeff? Or that's it?
Oh,
well, this is what they were passing along.
That is
saying,
cool.
Thank you.
That is nice. We do need to thank them.
Did I see Bugatti police cruisers?
Yes.
You might have. Yeah, right.
Yes.
That's pretty nuts.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Isn't it?
You say a little money throw around. I think you got it right.
I might jaywalk on purpose. Just, throw me in the car. Yeah, take me to jail. I'm fine. I want to ride in a Bugatti.
I'm more along the lines of trying to imagine that first guy that speeds there and gets chased down by a Bugatti. It's like, yeah, I'm not running from that.
Right.
So, all right. So last in the news is DJI's other upcoming patent that they have.
Well, now hold
out.
on. Didn't you have a cool FPV golf shot to share with us there, Jeff?
Okay.
He very often misses rehearsal. That's fine.
Now, as we've reported in the past, there was an FPV shoot that was done with a golf pro in which the drone actually chased the golf ball down the course and was able to film it all the way to landing.
Ed, do you think you're a good enough FPV pilot to do this kind of thing?
Man, that looks so much fun. I love to try. And I saw this video. I think I saw it maybe on Instagram. And the way they edited the audio sounds great too, because they have the hit, they have the whoosh, they have the whoosh as they fly by the flag. They did a great job with the audio too. But I would love to try this. That's kind of a dream of mine there. Yeah. Ever since I saw that video, I said one day golf course to do this.
Yeah, I'm impressed with them being able to actually track the ball. That itself is just amazing.
I think I'm getting ahead of myself as far as my skills, because I'm at the point now where I can do ADI mode without crashing. So I'm very proud of myself as a newbie. But I've been doing drones for a long time, so I'm good at getting access to stuff. So I may have been a little too big for my britches when I got access to a drag strip. And drag strip here in Tennessee, where they said, "Oh, you want to follow the cars down with your drone? Sure, go ahead." So that's my next video on the channel.
Oh, nice.
Luckily, I brought someone with me who can fly better, so most of the video is from him, my friend Chris. But I did try.
Ken, I saw you at that minefield art display over there. What's it called? Brownsville, Tennessee.
Oh yeah,
where
Brownsville.
You put out that video.
Yeah.
And that was you flying, right?
Oh yeah,
That's footage of you.
That was my new Cinewhoop. That was the first time I flew it out.
Well, you were flying inside that thing. You were in the gaps. I saw what you were doing. Ken, you're getting better. You really are. And last time I was on this show, I think I said you were getting better. And you really are. I've talked with other people who are observing you, Ken. We're observing you. We're seeing your progress.
Thank
we
you.
like what we see.
That means a lot. Just like learning how to play the drums or an instrument, you have to learn techniques with FPV.
Yeah.
And, flying through stuff, doing the, what do they call it? The S turn thing? The up and the...
Split S.
Split S, that's it. I don't know the lingo. But I do like diving things. I'm trying to get that, and
Yeah.
I have some videos tonight that I'll share in just a little bit of the 3 videos that influenced me the most into wanting to get into freestyle / cinematic FPV. And of course, one of them is from Drew Camden, LeDrib.
Right.
Yeah,
right.
yeah, yeah.
Right.
Yes, Jeff, back to you. Sorry.
Okay, so finally in the news, DJI is working on a possible new folding design for an upcoming drone. This is a patent release, so it's not anything that is something specific, but it's a possibility that we would see this as a folding design for either a DJI racing drone or maybe the Inspire 3.
Hold on. Hang on. There's a new design by DJI. I'm sorry. Let me zoom out. Yeah, there we go. Sorry about that. Get it? I get it. I get jokes. See, now only photography drone people get that.
Yeah. Okay.
It's not really
That's
made
good.
by Autel, but they'll probably try to claim it. When's this coming out, Jeff?
No idea. It's just
Okay.
a patent release, so it could be anytime. It could be never.
Okay. Well, Jeff, thank you so much. Hold on. All right. I'm being told by my producer that doesn't exist that we have a funny picture to share. I know it's random, but I'll go ahead and share that. There it is. And the picture caption is not FPV, but FBV. And Jeff, yes, they put a camera on the bird and he's watching it. So what would FBV stand for? It's not first person view. It's first what view there, Jeff?
You couldn't let me get through the whole news, could you?
What is it? What is it,
Could
Jeff?
not. I mean, I was at the last story.
Come on. What is it?
I could have.
What is it?
Just gone
Come on, Jeff.
and relaxed. for
What's the
entire
word?
evening.
What's the
It's a
word?
bird!
Oh, well, everybody's heard about the bird. Bird. The bird's a winner. Well, a bird. Bird is a winner. Well, a bird. Well, a bird is a winner. Well, a bird. The bird's a winner. Well, a bird. Well, a bird is a winner. Well, a bird. The bird's a winner. Well, a bird. The bird's a winner. Well, a bird.
Aw, Jeff, are you drowning your sorrows in the Reese's?
Caused him to eat.
Oh, Jeff.
No.
I'm causing Jeff to have an eating disorder. All right. Jeff, thank you so much. Would you like to remind people of the sponsor, or should I let virtual Jeff do it?
Oh, go ahead and let virtual Jeff do it.
No, I think we
Already got it
prefer
queued up.
real Jeff. You go ahead. Tell us all about GPC cases.
Okay. GPC Cases. TNL News has been sponsored by Go Professional Cases. GPC, designed for life. Be original, be blue. Don't forget discount code TNL10 for a 10% discount on all online purchases at goprofessionalcases.com. Link in the description.
Thank you very much, Jeff. Love you, mean it. I do.
Thanks, Jeff.
All right. You're the best, man.
Bye.
Thanks for stopping by. Now get out.
Ah, gotta love that, Jeff. All right. So now
He's gonna be okay.
I think he'll be all right. Yeah. He'll go pet his dog or his chicken or his duck or one of his 5 kids, or he's got something called a sugar miser or something, or I don't know what the heck it is. But
I tell you what, Ken, when this dog was first making noise and you made a face, I thought you were passing gas. I'll just tell you the truth. But no, it turned out to be Jeff. And then I thought, okay, well, did Jeff pass gas? But no, it's a
no,
dog.
Jeff has a lot of animals. Too many animals.
Okay.
Yeah. So now we're going to bring in our first guest, Scott Vanderpool.
Okay.
And while I make the call to him, here's Ed with a joke. And I know he's totally ready with a joke.
You know what?
Because he
I'm so
watches
bad
the
at-
show
I'm
and he
so
knows
bad
the
at
format.
remembering jokes.
Yeah.
No, so here I am on Google.
Yeah.
So I type in jokes.
Yeah. Type in the jokes. Yeah.
Seriously funny jokes.
Right.
40 hilarious jokes no one is too old to laugh at.
Mm-hmm.
How does a squid go into battle?
How does a squid go into battle?
Well armed.
Ah! That's not bad. That's not
I
bad.
just pulled that out of the top of my head.
That's pretty
Ken.
good. Scott, you there,
I
bud?
think it's-
Yeah, can you see me?
I cannot see you.
You have a question mark.
Yeah, you're an S right now, bud.
We hear you.
1 second, sir.
All right. And there he is. welcome to the show, my
Hey,
friend.
Ken.
All right. Now,
How are you?
yeah, I'm good. Oh boy, Skype is doing the sizey game. So let me resize you because all of this should have been done before the show. But thank you, Skype. Oh, sweet baby Jesus, what are you doing to me?
Ken.
I know. Hey, here's Ed with another joke. Alexa,
okay? I'll
tell
just
me a
scroll
joke.
down.
Hold on, Alexa's got it.
How does Spock get a laugh from Captain Kirk?
How?
He sets his phaser to pun.
Eh. Yeah. And now I'm going to bring in Jason Shappert from RemotePilot101.com, one of our illustrious sponsors, and he'll be right there and ready. And ladies and gentlemen, here he is, Jason Shappert. Hey, man.
Hey, Ed.
Hey.
The squid joke was good. The squid joke had a lot of promise. You keep that up. That
It
was
did.
good.
Yeah.
Thanks.
All right.
I'm gonna keep that window open just in case Ken throws it at me again.
There we go. All right. Welcome, everyone. Oh, my goodness. What a wonderful story. Well, not for you, Scott, but hopefully it'll have a good ending. So, Scott, please tell us a little bit about what happened.
Yeah, absolutely. So this past weekend, right outside of Pittsburgh area, just a normal day, man, trying to fly a little bit, and I was at my buddy's camp, and took it over the hill, and I actually stopped and hovered about 389 feet because I was trying to adjust the camera settings, and heard a gunshot. Didn't even think twice about it because I'm in the middle of the country, right?
Right.
So, flying around, I came back and landed, and when I looked, and I'm like, what just happened to this thing? Because the top of it's like blown out. Yeah.
Wow.
So like,
Wow.
I'm like, what just happened, right? So like, and then I'm putting two together, and I'm like, I heard a gunshot. I'm like, there's no way, right? So I'm like, it's got to be. Like, what else could it have been? And so with that being said, like I sat there and I'm like, what should I do, right? And I thought about it for a little bit, and then I should have took the battery off because I didn't realize how crazy it is. It didn't catch fire, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
And
Just looking at this one picture here, you can see how bad the battery is.
Right.
The fact that it continued, it landed, right? I mean, it landed. You still flew it, and it was fine, apparently.
yeah, so when I looked at the GPS on the flight records, I actually flew like 3,578 feet. Like I literally calculated it out from where I was hovering. So I mean, that's almost 3/4 of a mile. And even to the point when I was bringing it in and landing it, like I didn't even notice anything was wrong with it at all. So it's crazy that like I didn't notice anything.
So,
now I can't. I took the battery out. I can't get another battery in there.
So
it definitely needs replaced.
It was definitely shot. What caliber of gun do you think that was?
I don't know. I'm not very good at that stuff. I'm not 100% sure. I can tell you that, like, with that kind of height, though, like, you would almost, it couldn't have been a pistol. I mean, I wouldn't think a pistol would even.
How
it's a
high?
pure luck shot, though, for
How
sure.
high were you when it was shot? How high?
389 feet.
Oh yeah, somebody sighted you in with some kind of sniper rifle.
That's a heck of a
But I
shot,
was only-
though.
Yeah.
I was only hovering for like maybe a minute, like not even that, like just enough to like try to mess with the the settings a little bit on my camera, and I'm bringing it back in because I was like, it was sunny out, so I'm like, you know what? I don't even think I put a filter on this thing today, so that was the reason I even brought it back in, and then I totally forgot about a filter, of course,
Okay.
because a whole new other thing came on, right?
So
yeah. I did. I thought about it, and then I contacted local authorities and tried to see what options were available. And so I explained what it was and what happened, and I showed my flight record and everything. And they're like, "Yeah, we'll go talk, and we'll see what happens. And we'll go ask a couple questions."
Okay, so first of all, let me just say you're in Pittsburgh or nearby.
Yeah, correct.
Okay, and so you went to what police? The state police, your local police? What kind of authority did you go to?
Yeah, like the local authority. Yeah.
Okay, I'm sorry about the sizing issue here. This Skype is okay. And so had they ever had any experience with any kind of drone complaints before? Was this seemed like the first time?
I don't think so. No, I don't believe so.
Okay.
No, it seemed like it was the first one.
When I spoke with you about this before, you seemed to indicate that not only were the police kind of ignorant of all this, but you actually didn't know that this is a federal crime. And,
I didn't, you know,
yeah.
because at the end of the day, like what we were, like what my main concern is hitting a bird probably, right? So like you
Yeah.
don't even know. One of those things that like the first thing you look up is like when birds are going around you, like how do you avoid them the most accurately way? Because that's probably the number one thing that we encounter is, you know, birds swarming around. So the last thing you're thinking of is ever being shot at. So
yeah. All right. Well, let me stop you right there.
I was not educated on that for sure.
Let me stop right there and give it to Jason right now, who can kind of clarify a little bit for us. By the way, Jason Shepard, remotepilot101.com, the place to go if you want to get your Part 107, actually legally make money with your drone. And you can use Heron 18 to get a 30% discount. All right. So tell us a little bit about what law was broken, how he should proceed, because it seems like everyone involved is a little bit clueless, including the shooter who admitted it. And we'll talk about that in a second.
Yeah, for sure did the right thing on going to the local law enforcement as a start. Shooting down a drone is a federal offense, as crazy as that sounds. So this fits under what's called Title 18. I came prepared, Ken. I came with my notes and everything else. I want to get it exactly right. Unmanned aircraft are considered an aircraft in the FAA's eyes. We're considered pilots. Our drones are considered aircraft. So Title 18 says sabotage to include the destruction of any aircraft in the special aircraft jurisdiction of the United States. Violation of this code carries a maximum prison sentence of 20 years. And I think they'll pick you up in a Bugatti, Ken. But either way, you don't want to be locked up for 20 years with that one. Title 18 is the same title that forbids, remember, it still happens, but people who go out and point lasers at aircraft or helicopters, and you see the articles, they point at the police helicopter and the police then chase the guy down from there. This is the same title that allows the FCC to prevent us from jamming. That's why the public can't have GPS jamming capabilities, making all these things very much a federal offense. So you're right, you went to the local authorities, but is it going to stop there? Did we find the guy that made this shot, I guess would be the question?
Yeah, so you know, I was told I was going to get a phone call regardless, either way, because they were going to go talk to a couple people, and the guy admitted to it.
Wow!
I literally got a phone call within like 2 hours.
So
wow! And my reaction was, I think I laughed because I couldn't believe someone would admit to it, right?
So he admitted.
He was proud of his shot.
Yeah. Did he admit it in front of the police?
That's who he admitted it to. Yes.
Okay, so.
I don't know who the person is.
Is he in jail? I mean, what's going on?
I don't. All I know is they're going to get a hold of me. That's the last.
Yeah, here's the sticking point, and the sticking point is that the general public dismisses drones because they think that they're toys.
Right.
And they're not. Even if you're a hobbyist, it doesn't matter if you're 107, as long as you are flying legally in the United States airspace. You're covered under this jurisdiction. And Jason, should he take this to different authorities, or what should he? How should he proceed? Because I really, now this is totally up to you, Scott, but I just wouldn't let this go, man. I wouldn't let this go. I would call a press conference. Hopefully this gets it some exposure, because this kind of thing will not be tolerated. This is unacceptable.
We can talk about options. So if the police do something, Scott, I'd mentioned to them about Title 18 to make sure they're aware, and I know Ken's familiar with Title 18 as well. Either of us can get it to you so you can see it. It's not legally an accident in the FAA's eyes, because yes, it's a high dollar amount that's been damaged, but that dollar amount, remember in the regulations, does not include the damage to the drone. It's persons or property. So it's not, I mean, you could report it to the FAA, but you don't go into your FAA drone zone portal and report my drone was shot. I mean, maybe you could. It might be a unique scenario in that case, but I think you need to keep pressing local law enforcement. If they're not willing to play, you may want to go to state law enforcement. You need to get the gentleman's name, though, that admitted to shooting this down, and get the police reports to have your copy with it. Like Ken said, this isn't something I would let sit. People always threaten, I'm going to shoot down Amazon drones when they're flying over. Well, no, you're not. You're not going to do that. That's my Ken Heron impression. No,
Yeah,
you're not.
I was going to ask him. I mean,
was that
how,
good, Ken?
That was pretty good. I want to know, Scott, how did you fly your drone all the way from Pittsburgh down to Kentucky? Because I tell you what, the skies are filled with lead in Kentucky. You're not going to spy on me and Emmylou. You're just not going to do it. That's my land. You're spying on me. Emmylou's a looker. Everybody wants to take pictures of her. Sorry, I digress. So
that's a crazy thing, though, because like you said about Amazon, that's going to be a thing of the future. I mean, we're going to probably see more deliveries that way, right? So with that being said, it's going to be more of a common thing that we're going to see. So I understand that, it's maybe uncomfortable for some people, but
ignorance is no excuse. Well, I didn't know that murder was illegal. Don't be a moron. Just because you don't know about law doesn't mean you can't break it. So do you think, Jason, if he pushed this, and I don't know if because I don't know if this is a road you want to go down, because this will garner you a lot of attention. You could do some good for the drone community. I don't know how people in the chat are feeling about it. If you want to go down that road, but you could set a precedent. And how do you feel about that? Do you want to pursue this, because the law's on your side?
Yeah.
Yeah, I got some thinking to do for sure, don't I?
Yeah, and I really think that I don't know how your local authorities that you already contacted will reply, because they're just going to be like, I'm assuming they don't know a lot, so you might want to go to someone who does. You can contact your local FAA office and get some advice. Jason, what do you suggest?
Well, Scott, did you have insurance for this flight, or do you have insurance on it?
I do, yeah.
I mean, obviously,
I don't have my Part 1.
that Mavic's not flying again. Okay, that for what you're doing, that doesn't matter either way. But that Mavic's not flying again. I mean, based on my limited analysis of it, if I had to say.
Yeah, I mean, it's. I don't know if you guys can.
And there it is.
Yeah,
wow.
You're not.
Yeah. Can you see that?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's awful. I mean,
Yeah, I mean, it's not going anywhere.
At the very least,
I know a lot of times in manned aviation. For example, the insurance company, if there's an issue, the insurance company will be the bad guy, the bad gal, and pursue the damages and the charges. There's an example at a local airport. A gentleman had a G650 Gulfstream. Ken, you're going to have one soon, I promise.
Oh.
Just a few more super chats, and we'll be there. Okay. Guy was pulling out the G650, had some hangar rash, took the wingtip down the entire side of the hangar. The insurance company comes after the business that did that, and they do they're pursuant of that. So you might want to get your insurance company involved here sooner rather than later, in addition to the police, and continue to push the police along and see what happens with that. I think that might be a smart path to go. Insurance would offer a lot, and obviously, like Ken said, you have your local FSDO, Flight Standards District's office. You might want to just give them a friendly little phone call if they're even open right now. Ours here in Florida are still closed, and just put as many feelers out there as you can.
And by FSDO he means by FSDO he means FSDO.
Okay.
That's fancy pilot talk. Sorry, I had to translate for him. But at the very least, you could probably have some kind of small claims to get your property. I mean, you don't want the dude to go to jail for 20 years, but I certainly would want to let him know that he could. He needs to know that he did wrong, that he did really wrong.
It's an interesting point too, Ken, because we don't have that precedent yet. we know, drones and aircraft don't mix. For the few little people who've gotten busted, there's a young kid in New York that hit the military helicopter. And there's been people that have been fined for hitting airplanes or being too close to airplanes. Just a few. We have that precedent now, which kind of tells people, hey, just don't be a dummy. I don't know of anybody who's shot down a drone and actually been fined or, experienced some prison time for it. So you can set a precedent too, and it makes our hobby, our gigs out there that much safer. And, it could be the Scott law before you know it. You could be famous, Scott.
And I had a question, a thought. Also, Ray Hollins in the comments, he said, if a gunshot made that battery rack badly, a crash would be resulting landing in a fireball that's could start a fire or something.
Good
I mean,
point.
not just the drone falling on somebody's head or just damage of property, but that could have started a big fire somewhere or something like that. And actually, I'm glad to see that you're outside, Scott. I'd be careful of that battery inside your house as well. Make sure that you don't. Make sure you're storing that safely as evidence, but just don't don't bring it inside without being prepared.
What a good point.
I put it in salt water. I've read that somewhere. Is that correct?
Okay, so you've discharged it fully?
Correct. Yeah, I put it in salt water for about 24 hours.
That should make it inert, and then at that point, the risk is low. But yeah, I'd say be careful still. Keep it in something metallic and keep it outside if possible.
So what do you plan on? How do you plan on proceeding? You want to recoup the cost of your property, certainly, and I would
absolutely
think that you would
first and foremost
want the dude to know that he did a bad thing. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
I mean, I think we all need to be held accountable for certain things we do, and if you don't realize what you did was maybe wrong, it's one of those things you need to realize that you just can't go around doing that.
Mm-hmm.
And also, you just can't go around shooting guns in the air either.
Yeah, good point.
Well, he sounded like he was proud. Jason's right that he made the shot.
It's a heck of a shot. I mean, 389 feet in the air.
Right?
It's just one of these people that just sticks in my craw, and they're just, and I'm sorry to put on an accent when I do it, but you go fly over my property and take pictures of me soon. They're just never going to change their mind. That's just the way they're
That was a conversation that we were having. The Nextdoor app where you can sign up and you kind of have your neighbors, and it's all kind of a community message board. Something happened we were talking about drones flying over and how it could be something with the deliveries and everything. And a large amount of people were talking about, target practice time and talking about how they would shoot stuff down. And I was on there trying to tell people, that's not cool to do. And I was getting a lot of flack for saying that. It's kind of like people weren't taking it seriously. So, of course, people are maybe just saying things. But, I think it should be known, more public knowledge that is really a serious offense to do something like that.
Yeah. Now, before we let you go, I just wanted to, and Jason, both of you, I wanted to ask Jason specifically about remote ID and how it pertains to the FPV community. We have a lot of FPV people watching tonight, I'm sure.
Yes.
Ed, Jason, maybe you guys could speak to that a little bit, because it seems like just the FPV people that I've talked to about this recently, that it's going to kill the hobby.
Well, the hobby, the racing, man, I get it, but we still are going to have to find a way to play by the rules. And I understand the FPV versus photography drones play two totally different roles in this great hobby and career for many of us as well. But, remote ID still does apply to these FPV drones, and it's going to add a unique element to it, especially like in the racing community and stuff where weight and aerodynamics are such a big thing. What does a remote ID chip even look like? Like, we don't know. We're years from having this. It's all just government paperwork right now, but there's a lot of questions. But I don't know, Ed, what do you hear, in that community more so?
I mean, it's definitely a consideration that we're all thinking about, but it's one of those things we don't really, I guess, know the final word. The FAA was going to let us know, I think it was by the end of the year, we'd actually know what was going on. But then I know we have big business like Amazon trying to push for the FAA to act even sooner. So I'm not really sure what's going to happen, but we're keeping an eye on it. Like there are different Facebook groups that I'm involved with, FPV related, where we talk about these types of things. And without getting into any of the weeds, especially because, with the partnership that you have with Ken and everything, I don't want to exactly say maybe what I might continue to do, but it's one of those things that, yes, to be within the letter of the law and to be safe and responsible, we're just going to have to find some of those ways to find those areas, those FRIAs, where maybe we can fly and maybe get a little creative with how we can create these tracks or these freestyle environments, and maybe see if there's a way for us to at least expand a little bit and talk with the city. I know I've attended some of the Parks and Rec meetings and some of the council meetings at Raleigh to see what we can do with drones to maybe make it a little more lenient for us, because even before the remote ID situation, my city, Raleigh, North Carolina, was kind of cracking down on drones and where you can fly and what you can do. And I think we were talking about earlier how there's only 6 out of maybe 90 something parks in Raleigh where you can even fly right now. So what happens when remote ID comes in? Too soon to tell, but we're keeping an eye on it, and we hope that we can at least, do what we love to do and keep flying and keep keep enjoying our Sunday afternoon.
That was very diplomatic, Ed. But the truth is, there's going to be a lot of pirate pilots out there, no matter what.
There's a space for that, though, even, Ken. I don't mean to keep going and taking time here, but in manned aviation, we have certified aircraft. Those are your Cessnas, your Pipers of the world. And then there's a whole category called experimental, which is literally home-built aircraft. And there's some of the most widely popularized segment of aviation. We have home-built drones. Could the FAA consider giving us a segment such as experimental, where we have rules, we just have a subset of rules, and maybe remote ID doesn't apply to that subset. So that's an option as well. I know so many racers that are home-built drones. A lot of the FPV community is where you see that home-built component to things. So that's something, Ed and Ken, to really keep your eyes out on. Can we get some experimental rules in place instead of just Part 107 for everybody?
Right. Very good. Well, hey, thank you so much for your time there, Jason. And Scott, I wish you the best of luck as you move forward. Maybe there's somebody
thank you very much.
Watching who.
Hey, Jason, thanks for coming on, man.
Maybe there's somebody watching who knows somebody in the legal community who might advise you or give you some help that has some drone expertise, because I know there's some law offices that have that expertise available to you.
Definitely. And Jason, get a hold of me. He's got my information. Maybe I've got a couple questions or something if you don't mind. And I'll keep you guys in the loop, Ken.
Absolutely. And remotepilot101.com is a great resource. Even if you're not signed up, and you should, because with the Heron 18 discount, it's only like $104. You can call them anytime. You can do chats, send them email, ask them a question. They're a great resource. remotepilot101.com. All right.
Thanks.
Cool. Wonderful. Thank you guys for being on. Appreciate it. Good luck.
Thanks, guys.
All right.
Nice meeting you both.
All right. See you, man. All right. Well, that was informative and fun, wasn't it?
It was. Like I said, I was surprised that drone didn't just kind of turn into a fireball. Pretty crazy. So yeah, there's a lot to take into consideration. If someone wants to shoot down a drone, that thing's not just going to fall from the sky and your problem's gone. That drone's going to be a fireball landing in your garden and spreading across your property. So yeah, don't shoot drones.
Yeah, that's dumb. You never know what's going to happen afterwards. It could fall.
Well, yeah. Plus your 20 years sentence.
Yeah. Oh, dude didn't know that. He's like, honey, get my gun. I imagine he had some, maybe had some chaw.
Ken, if you have a second, I'll tell you real quick. I'll speed talk. So I was trying to shoot a construction site a couple months ago with the Mavic 2 Pro, and I was actually borrowing it from a friend because mine was being repaired. And I was trying to fly it to get the shot of the area, but that means I kind of had to go on someone else's property. And keep in mind, this is out in the country, pretty far away from things. And I started to hear some screaming and shouting from that house. And then I heard 2 gunshots, and I took the drone off back to where I launched and kind of got out of there. My heart was racing. I really thought that my drone had just been shot at. Well, I drove by the residence there, and I realized they have a really great-looking firing range. and it's got all the different little ping things. And yeah, they were just having a good day shooting. It wasn't shooting at me. So I felt kind of silly there. But man, when you think someone's shooting your drone, especially something like a Mavic 2 Pro, blood drains from your face. It's crazy. It's a horrible feeling.
Isn't it nutty? Isn't it nutty that you have to even consider that as a possibility?
I'm kind of waiting. I mean, to be honest, at some point I was figuring it might happen. You know, someone's either gonna be really angry with me and eventually confront me in some sort of physical way, or they're gonna shoot my drone. I just figure one day it's gonna happen. But it wasn't that day.
Good. Well, let's hope that day never comes. Now, I apologize for the people in Germany it's way early in the morning. I want to share this video first, and then we're going to talk with Andre and Daniel. They're standing by in Stuttgart, Germany. But if you haven't seen this video, this is the video that I want to talk to them about. This is an amazing accomplishment for cinematic FPV, and for the fact that they got permission to do this, to fly over millions of dollars in classic cars. But check this out. This is from Mini Drone Studio. There's a link in the description to their channel. I urge you to subscribe to them, but watch this. And the sound design is amazing as well on this. Hope you're wearing headphones. The planning that went into this. I'm curious how many times it took them to do this. Was it a one-shot deal? We'll find out in just a moment. But sit back and enjoy this. The music changes with the era.
Oh yeah.
Gosh.
Now, I was trying not to talk so much because we're talking about the audio design as well, the sound design. But yeah, the sound design, I'm sure they put just as much time into some of these sound effects and some of this music as they did editing this and maybe flying it. I don't know. I'm not sure how long it took to actually get these shots perfect, but I'm sure it took a while.
Well, the audio is so important in any video.
Mm-hmm.
And how do you approach them? Hey, we're some FPV dudes. Can we fly around? I mean, what do you do? What do you ask?
Well, I guess this is a question for them, but I was wondering, did they just ask, or were they hired? I wasn't quite sure.
Right. If they were hired,
this is a heck of a promotion for the museum.
Yeah. If they were hired, that is very forward thinking by Mercedes.
I love that shot too, following those lights.
Oh yeah.
And just if there was any doubt as to whether they were flying a drone, there we go, going through some of those tight gaps.
Yeah. This is just incredible. I think we have them on. They're standing by.
Okay.
But I want to show the last few seconds of this, because we started outside and then we end outside once again.
Yeah. Very cool.
Fantastic. Wonderful. All right, I think we have them on. Welcome to the show, guys.
How's it going?
We have Andre and Daniel. Right?
Thanks for staying up so late.
Can you see us?
Yeah, sure. Hi, man. How are
Okay.
you doing?
Good. First, thanks for staying up late. Second, thanks for speaking English. And third, thanks for the wonderful, inspiring video.
Yeah, thanks for having us.
So how did this come about? Do you work for Mercedes? Were you just two dudes off the street? And how did you approach the museum about making this happen?
Well, we just made a video of the building outdoors.
Uh-huh.
And we did show them, and they said, okay, it looks really awesome, and they gave up the opportunity to fly there.
Yeah, I was working for Mercedes for a couple of projects before, so I already had some contacts, and I knew what names to call, and somehow it happened. They were open-minded, and so yeah.
Okay.
So you had been in the museum before. You kind of already knew.
Yeah.
Because I can imagine if you were in there before, you're like, I bet I could fly a drone through here.
Right.
Actually, we've been flying there with like bigger drones, like a couple of years ago, with like Inspires and stuff. So.
Wow.
Yeah.
So what drone did you use? I have your making of here that I will share. If you want to talk us through this, and this is the drone that you used being chased by another drone. So. What kind of a little guy is that?
Well, it's this little guy.
It's like a two-inch quad, like a self-made build. Like it's the frame is from a guy from Switzerland, and it has like a DJI unit inside, like a naked GoPro.
Oh, okay. I was wondering about that. If you were using a deconstructed GoPro to save weight, a lot of people are doing that.
7 or is that 8? What GoPro is that?
That's an 8.
That's an 8, yeah.
How many
great colors?
How many times did you have to practice? Were you nervous? Did you have to sign a waiver?
Insurance?
Yeah.
Yeah, like we got like an insurance for sure, but actually like first time when you're in the air, you like totally forget like where you're flying. It's just like basically flying.
Yeah.
Fun. And
the environment is really crazy to fly there. It's no wind, and the dream place to fly any drone in there.
Did you have any?
It was difficult to go from the outside to the inside. That must have been one of the most difficult transitions from the outside and then coming into where the air conditioning or whatever, the different air pressure, whatever. Every time I've tried that, I can never get it right. Was that difficult?
Yeah. That was probably the most technical difficulty part. Like especially you see here, like it was like a stormy weather came up and that day. So, but actually it worked out. So it was like the quiet moment before the storm in the end, and then it worked out. And yeah,
we had a couple of tries and maybe 4 to 5 tries, and the 5th worked out.
And so
obviously, as you were entering, you obviously had auto exposure because the exposure kind of changes.
Yeah.
But for the rest of it, was it auto exposure or did you dial in your GoPro settings?
We locked like the exposure and probably in like 90% of the shots, and so we could like when you shoot with the GoPro, you're always like a little like depending on the auto mode, so you need to
you always have to see how the lighting is, etc. But sometimes auto really works well, especially if you come from the outside and the inside. But probably we always go indoors if there is not so much bright light. We go with a Shutter 100. That's mostly get really sharp image. So it depends always on the situations and also on the rooms they have. So different rooms there with really bright, some are really a little bit darker. So it really depends what settings are on. Always really testing. So that was maybe the hard part about the Mercedes-Benz Museum, to test out what configuration you need on the GoPro, that we have the perfect solution. So yeah, the most thing was really trying out
the different settings and which one's the best. Yeah, there's like a lot of LED panels inside. So like when you go to auto mode and the exposure the shutter gets too high, you get flickering. So that's another point you have to be aware of.
So which one of you, I guess both of you did the filming, because I noticed a Cinewhoop going in the door and then going through the cars, and the more tight shots was done by this little guy here, right?
Yeah, like we were taking turns. We were both of us were flying, like on the tighter obstacle or spots or gaps. We obviously used the smaller drones. On the bigger ones, we used a little bigger drone for sure. But yeah, basically we were just flying there, taking turns. So everyone was already, obviously you need to be highly concentrated.
Yeah.
So you shouldn't
take a too long ride on it.
Yeah.
So always, okay, I'm not that concentrated anymore, so I take over. That's probably a good thing you have to do there. But
so about the signal, did you have any separate boosters set up, or was it just the stuff you had on the goggles?
No, it was basically
all digital.
Just the stock equipment. Like we did a little tweaks and changed the antennas and stuff, but it was nothing too crazy. Not like we didn't set up any boosters in the building or something.
Always like depending where you are and how long the shot is, and then looking where we can sit and hide, where we not can be seen. So on the roof, actually just set on the corner just before we entering the museum. So we just look over us, especially.
Yeah, that's actually the most important part, like to find a good spot to be like flying. That's basically most important thing.
So what did Mercedes think of all this? So they must have loved it.
Yeah, they're like really like our contacts are really cool and really open-minded. They really didn't like have like a big plan. Like they just said like, hey, okay, we like the idea, like we like what we've seen you doing, like just we trust you. We've seen you flying. Like of course in the first minutes or like hours they were just watching like and see if they trust us. And then they noticed like, okay, those guys like they don't crash into our cars, and it works out.
That's important.
And then they just trusted us and said like, okay, just like we don't want to like ruin your project by telling like you what to do. Yeah, we're sure like you know the best what works and what doesn't work with your drone. And then they just let us know, let us do. And
so we had our time there and to be really creative and doing our thing. No one said anything, hey, you have to do this, we need to see this car. We've been there and made up our plan, made up our route, made up what cars we want to show. Of course, we are located in Stuttgart, so we kind of Mercedes into us also, and like the brand. And of course, we know the special cars they have in there. So we know what we're going to show and what we want to show there. So, but they really let us just do what we did.
That's great. That's great to have that freedom. And you know, once you get something like this in your hip pocket, in your portfolio, then other places you can be like, well, I flew the Mercedes Museum, you should let me go here. Sure. And that opens up doors to other places. What are the kind of future projects you have coming up?
We got a lot of projects came up after this one. Like we got a lot of phone calls. Like we're doing some stuff for Red Bull next week, for example, or like for Carl Zeiss, like the lens manufacturer. We've been working there last week, and we're going back there even like on Monday.
So of course, the Mercedes-Benz Club was for us the step into being recognized in the scene and also here in Germany. And so right now we get the profit of this.
That's great.
Yeah, people calling and say, hey, you being these guys, you did this. Is it possible to do here? Of course. And yeah, so we right now full-time job doing this.
That's great.
That was the plan doing this, and we're living the dream, earning money from flying FPV drones.
Heck yeah, man. That's the dream, and there's a lot more opportunity for that kind of cinematic stuff. I've seen it in music videos. People are incorporating it into commercials and movies, so there should be plenty of opportunity for you. Ed, do you have any other questions, or have you seen any questions in the chat before we let them go?
Well, I just wanted to just say, I think that you also doing the behind the scenes video was a great idea, and I give you props for that, because the whole idea is you're showing the behind the scenes, but you're showing your professionalism, and you did it in a creative way that was also very watchable. It was equally as interesting to watch another drone follow the other drone, or I should say quads, I guess, whatever, and to show your goggles setup and to show your charger and your radios and everything. So I thought, I got just as much out of that. Informative and instructional wise like that, as opposed to the sheer creativity of the other video. And I just like that you did it really well. So it's a good pairing. And I think when you're trying to do a video like that, at least in my head, I'd be so concerned about don't hit the cars, get this shot, oh, do it again, that I wouldn't be thinking, oh yeah, make a video about how I'm doing it. So that was a great idea, guys. I got to give you props for that.
Yeah.
Thank you.
That's always.
Yeah, you gotta give the credits to our making of filmer, Gonzalo.
Yeah,
there you go. Yeah.
Thanks
Gonzalo,
thanks for
All right, hats off to Gonzalo. Wonderful. Well, it was a very inspiring video, and I appreciate giving us a little bit of insight to it. Best of luck to you guys in the future, and there's a link in the description to anybody that would like to subscribe to your channel on YouTube. It is Mini Drone Studio. And you guys are awesome. Thanks again for staying up late with us. Appreciate it.
Thanks, guys.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye, man.
Good
All
one.
right.
Bye-bye.
All right. See you, bud. All right. Wow. One day, if I could ever fly like that, I just don't know, man. That's what I aspire to.
There, Ken. Like I said, I did that little Jedi mind trick when I said bye to them. I did that. I thought that was kind of interesting. Just an aside.
These are not the drones you're looking for.
Man, it got all types of ideas I'm getting from that video. But yeah. So I don't want to hold up the show, but I by the way, I just had a thought.
Yeah.
One of those things. We fly around these buildings, these interesting buildings, so much. I always thought, wouldn't it be cool if some of these businesses, these big companies, would just put like a rotating display in their lobby of this guy just ripping the exterior of their building. I think that'd be so interesting for people sitting in the lobby just to watch.
Oh yeah.
Marketing material.
I mean, it's good. FPV is cool. So if you're a company, you got to show that you're a cool, hip company. That'd be a good idea. So, Drew Camden, Rotor Riot president and FPV God, coming up in just a minute. I just want to let everybody else know that I'm going to be showing viewer videos tonight. I've got a few really good ones here. I've got the Would You Ride It? I got some prizes back here. Going to give away as well. I wanted to mention this shirt. I don't know if you saw me hold it up. This is the Title 18 United States Code shirt. You can wear this while you're flying so that maybe nobody will mess with you. It says before you approach me, consider the law. You mess with me, the law's on my side. So those shirts are available in the store. Here's what they look like. I have a different version of them, but there's a link in the description if you want to get one of those.
Okay, you got a Teespring. Good idea.
Yeah, man. I'm uptown. So
good.
I want to thank our buddy Philip Akoshat. That's his actual last name. And he sent a super chat, as I like to say, $10 super chat.
Hey, is it looking like a disco on your end, by the way? We just got some crazy colors.
No, that's just you.
Oh, it's just me. Okay, go ahead with the super chat.
Yeah. Are you still on your meds, man? You good?
Take them.
Yeah, can't mix beer with that. By the way, those dudes were drinking something, weren't they? Or drinking a couple 40s.
Yeah, well, was it Guinness or something? I don't know. One of the people in the chat said, hope they weren't drinking a Pilsner while they were flying around those nice cars.
I mean, it's 3 a.m. over there, so maybe they're drinking something that puts them to night sleepy time. or they're just going to stay
Got
up all night.
confirmation from Agent K. It says just you. Okay, it's just hey, it cleared up. By the way, we're
Oh,
all
good.
We're all
Good.
Mine's
So-
back in business.
Now, I am into the FPV hard. I am into it like there's no recovering, and I remember when you started just getting into it, so many years ago, and how excited you were. Was there any particular FPV pilot or video that really inspired you? Because I have a couple that I want to share before we bring in Drew.
The first video and the first pilot was Johnny FPV, to be honest. But then through his videos, I eventually found, Steele Davis. I found LeDrib, Drew. I found a bunch of other people. But I will say Johnny FPV was the first video that I saw from FPV that just kind of blew my mind. And I had to get into it at that point.
The way that he flies around the track, I actually have some Johnny FPV here. Just
Great.
sharing it. This is a little bit from him.
Yeah.
It's amazing. I don't know why, but I feel like I could do a little bit of that. Maybe I want to. I mean, I could never be as good as Johnny FPV, of course, but I really would like to try that.
I showed a friend of mine this video, and he said, "Dude, that's a video game."
Oh.
I said, "Nope.
Yeah.
It's for real, dude." So it's pretty nuts, especially from someone who doesn't exactly know what they're watching. But even from us who are FPV pilots, we can really tell just how much skill is involved there.
And I don't know if you've seen this, but this one video, the way it was flown, the way it was edited, the music, of course, this stream is not monetized. I'm already going to get a copyright notice for what I'm about to play, but the music goes so well that, who cares? This is from a guy named Alexander Shevedov, and it's St. Petersburg, Russia. This is from a couple of years ago. It's the Latka Center when it had it was under construction, and I'm gonna play a little over a minute. This video gives me chills every time I see it. I desperately want to be able to fly like this guy. Just sit back and enjoy the hell out of this inspirational video. Have you seen this, Ed?
I don't recall. I don't think so.
Oh my freaking God, this is awesome. This is the tallest building in Europe. So he's just flying up there.
Yeah.
Hey, dudes. You gotta be wondering what they're thinking. Oh, look, a drone.
Oh, there he is.
Yeah.
He's waving at him. You see that?
Yeah. So now you see it, and now you don't. Bye, guys. It looks fake, man, doesn't it?
You saw the shadow. You can kind of tell just how close he is.
Yeah.
He's close.
Interesting demonstration on how you put a crane, giant crane on a building.
It's one of those things where it's like a minute-long dive. I mean, you can just dive that thing.
Mm-hmm.
I've dove a few towers, but 3 seconds you're already pulling out of it. Like, that's nuts.
And this guy flying, he is not close. He is across the harbor doing this.
Really?
Yeah, he's far away. And he's not seeing it. Photography pilot guys, he's not seeing it in 4K. Gosh, man.
See if he was flying DJI or if he was flying like analog with Crossfire.
It was analog. It was analog.
Really? Okay.
Yeah, this is a couple years ago.
Flying far away, long range, that's actually more predictable and reliable because I think DJI pretty much has a hard limit for range, and beyond that, it just kind of craps out on you.
Mm. So what do you prefer? What do you prefer to fly? Digital or?
I love DJI.
Yeah.
I love the clarity. I love it. But if I am flying further or maybe behind or in areas where it's DJI might start really having higher latency, because it has variable latency, then I am going to probably go back to analog for those specific reasons. But check this out. Digidaptor by British Drone Industries.
Oh.
Right there is an analog rapid fire module on the DJI goggles. So I no longer have to bring 2 sets of goggles if I want to fly analog and digital in the same day, or if I'm going to meet some analog flyers while I'm flying digital, I don't need to bring 2 goggles anymore. It's a fantastic product.
Yeah,
I have a video coming out hopefully tomorrow, maybe Saturday.
That's a really cool adaptation. But yeah, the whole digital thing, the audience mode on it, it's, you know, you can't.
Oh, yeah.
It's not as good as analog.
It's pretty crap.
Thank you very much. Ad Film Media with a 200 of something. What is that? Is that Sweden? Some working money to you, Ken, from Lars in Sweden. Oh, it's our buddy Lars. Keep doing the great job you do, Ken. Oh, and my hair is more beautiful than yours. That's true. Have you seen Lars' hair? It's fantastic.
I haven't.
Andy Harden with a $5 super chat. Thank you so much. They were drinking Isodonk Icelandic beer, I think. Isodonk. Okay. That's a great name. So we're going to bring in Drew Camden from Rotary here in just a moment. Okay. And before we bring him in, I want to play one of their videos that is so amazing. This is on my list of inspirational videos. This is FPV on a roller coaster, and I will bring him in as I play this. Watch this. Again, with the sound design, just absolutely amazing. Crucial to the video. Sometimes even better than just music. Can you fly like that, Ed?
Man, I don't really have a point of reference for knowing if I could, but I imagine this is very challenging and it takes a high skill level. You know, and you're talking about the sound design. That's something we're seeing more and more with FPV videos these days. We used to hear just the quad noise. Yeah. And eventually we're also hearing, you know, the music, a nice music selection. But at this point, we're really seeing a lot of people doing great sound design. So that's just a great benefit.
He's locked into the track there. Sometimes you forget it's a drone. You think you're actually glued a camera on the front.
It does something like that.
Yeah.
It just goes to a whole nother track. Yeah.
Ladies and gentlemen, I give you Drew Camden, LeDrib. Welcome to the show.
Guys.
How's it going?
It's going great. Thanks for making time with us, man. That video is just part of a video that you could find on Rotor Riot. I watched it again today where I forget the name of the young man who, I say young man because I'm an old man, but he went through
Alex.
Yes, the arch. He went inside, and you're like,
yeah.
I mean, that was amazing. I mean, he crashed at the end, but it looked great for a minute.
Oh yeah, no, I mean, it was one of those things that just to even get that far down, I was like, that's an accomplishment. He wanted to pull out. I was like, Alex, just to do that was crazy. Yeah, he's one of the best pilots in the world. I love flying with Alex because he probably pushes me or inspires me, you know, almost more than anyone else. Like when I fly with Alex and I watch him, like, okay, I'm gonna try that now. Let's do that.
That's the thing. You get together with a bunch of people and you're like, you either try to emulate them or outdo them. It's a fun time. But I forgot. Ed, Drew, Ed. This is my friend Ed.
Nice to meet you again. You know, I met you briefly at Rampage. I shook your hand. I said, hey, I love your videos. But it was it was an in passing meeting. So yeah, nice to finally talk to you. This is awesome.
Yeah, I'm glad we get to meet again and get to know each other better. Yeah, Rampage, that was a whirlwind of a weekend. That was a lot of fun though.
I tell you what, that was a great time, and I love that we had multiple areas we could fly. And if you wanted to fly more of the industrial spot, you could, or you know, the park that y'all built, that was awesome. I think we had like 4 different spots, didn't we? Either way, it was a really awesome location. Yeah,
for anyone that didn't make it, Rampage was I would say first of its kind, and to date only of its kind, freestyle festival. There have been many, you know, RC and FPV festivals and stuff, but we set out to do something that was really about freestyle and had cool locations to fly and music and graffiti, and it was really special, and I really hope we can do one again. We had hopes that we would just do one every year, but it's a pretty big undertaking. So all I can say is it will happen again.
That was gonna be one of my questions.
I got not happening this year.
That's understandable.
Yeah.
So you're located in Florida, is that right?
Yeah, I've been living in Florida since last January. 2 Januaries ago, yeah, year and a half.
What part of Florida? I was born in Cape Canaveral, so I'm a Floridian, I guess. Yeah.
I'm in Orlando.
Okay.
Yeah, moved from Michigan. Never saw myself living in Florida, but here I am, and it's not so bad. Not so bad. Weather's great.
Yeah, good flying weather. If anybody is in the chat have any questions for Drew, I just really admire you and what you've done and how you've uplifted the FPV to where it is now. You're how long have you been president of Rotor Riot?
About coming up on 2 years, probably.
Okay.
Yeah.
And
even more than.
what is it just fun all the time? Is it as fun as it looks on
I
the
wish.
YouTubes? Yeah.
I wish. I mean, there's a lot of fun days. There's a lot of really fun days. But I mean, today, for example, I filled out a credit card application, reviewed some financial stuff, sent an email proposal to a potential partner, edited a script for a press release that's coming out tomorrow. It's just
business stuff.
Just a mess of paperwork and boring. But I'm trying to get caught up on all the boring stuff today because tomorrow, Vanover, who we were just talking about, lands, as well as our filmer Christian. The intern Kate is already in town, and so we're gonna be doing a week of Rotor Riot shooting. So I was trying to get all the businessy stuff caught up, and then when we do a shoot week, this is gonna be our first shoot week in months now, because we had to shut down regular production, but now the travel's opening back up. Going into a shoot week, just get focused on flying drones and having a good time and making cool episodes.
Well, I look forward to that credit card video that will no doubt be lit, as the kids say. Am I too old to say lit? I think I'm too old to say it. I think I would ruin the word if I said it. Grandpa said lit. What advice would you have for a newbie like myself? I mean, I'm all et up with it. I'm like, I'm not buying 20 drones, but the ones I have, I've repaired a few times. I'm not good, but I'm good at not crashing so much. I got to get better at proximity stuff and going through things and just the basics. But I'm like, I want to know it now. I want to know it now. What's the best way to fast track?
The fastest way to learn, huh?
Yeah. Is it simulator?
I mean, the correct answer is simulator.
Yeah. Oh, okay.
That's the correct answer.
What's
but
the
I didn't
fun
sim,
answer?
I didn't sim a lot.
Yeah.
The fun answer is just have at it, man. Have a durable drone. Build something that doesn't break when you crash, and that you can bounce off some stuff and just fly in a location where, fly around some trees and bushes where it's not going to crash or it's not going to damage too badly if you do crash, and fly a brick of a drone so that when you do, it's not going to break, and just get the stick time in. And ultimately my favorite tip is just move the sticks as little as possible. Just guide the drone, let it do its thing. When you're lined up for a gap, the drone will go through the gap. It wants to go where it's pointed. So you'll see, like, before people are really comfortable with it, they're lined up and they're like, oh, left, right, left, right. And it's just like, calm down on the sticks, man. Just line it up, let it go through, let it happen.
Yeah.
Well, Ken and I, we have similar audiences, Ken and I, where we have a lot of camera drone viewers. And the few times that I've been able to witness in person and maybe kind of help someone fly FPV for the first time, or at least getting started, they're surprised that it takes very little stick movement to move the FPV quad a lot. And so that's probably one of the interesting things about it. And when I first started flying, this was like mid-2017, where I first tried acro. And I did try simulator. And I did it a few times. And then I got my first FPV drone late November 2017. And I thought all that was still in my head, like riding a bike. And I thought, I'm just going to go ahead and take it out. Broke it within 5 seconds. So I think starting a simulator, like you said, it's a good idea to get those first 100 crashes out for free without having to repair that.
Well, it's interesting that you mentioned the difficulty when you're coming from AP platforms, and I think that's something that when you're flying in an auto level mode or any AP platform with the rates that they have, you have to move this stick so much. So when you fly a Mavic, you're going to be cruising that Mavic around at full stick most of the time. You just push the stick to its bump stop and hold it. So you think that's what you're going to do. And when you're flying an FPV drone, you're just guiding it. So it's get in the acro mode, and maybe don't be afraid to dump your rates. So if you're also looking for a learn it quick tip, Ken, I'd say just dump the rates way lower than you think they should. Dump them so low it's uncomfortable.
Yeah.
That you really have to work for it, and then work them back up slowly.
That's the thing that I was flying initially with default rates And for photography drone people that are watching, the rates are, how much input you give them the stick movement, and it reacts. That's what we're talking about. And you can adjust the rates on a photography drone as well, although the default rates on a photography drone are okay to just leave.
Well, and even so, when you're in an auto level mode, the rate kind of doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Because the rate, the stick movement almost becomes a tell of what angle you're at. Whereas in an acro mode, the stick movement dictates how fast you're rotating.
Right.
And I was just explaining the difference. When you get upside down and you center the stick, and you're there, you got to move the stick again to bring it right side up.
Right. Which is why the simulator for me was really handy to learn the throttle. Because that is something coming from the photography drone side that you really have to think about. You can let go of the controller, go have lunch, and your drone will still be where you left it with a GPS drone. Not so much with and I didn't start with acro. Everybody's like, just do acro, just do it. And I was like, well, not scary, but
Well, I didn't either, to be honest. So you gotta, it's okay. You just at some point gotta make that commitment and stick with it. I think I made the mistake of going back and forth when I was learning, and then one day I just decided I've got to stop going back and forth and just commit to it, and then that's when you get it.
How long have you been flying FPV?
3 or 4 years, probably 4 years at this point.
Okay, and you're pretty accomplished at this point, and so the natural inclination is to keep trying to one-up yourself and challenge yourself. At the point where you are now, so accomplished, what kind of nutty things are you doing? Is it different locations, or is it the move over to 3D flying, which maybe you can explain to our viewers what the hell that is?
I'd like to play with 3D fly. It just doesn't interest me because it defeats the rush that I get when I fly, which is to always be fighting gravity. So with 3D, you can just command it to go any way that you want, and I just don't think that it lends itself to flow as much as normal drone stuff. So again, if you don't know what 3D is, you can spin the props both ways, and then using a flat paddle prop, you can thrust in either direction, so you can go upside down and actually hover. So a lot of like the tricks that you can see a collective pitch helicopter do, you could do with a drone. TikToks and Zoe even. The things I love seeing Zoe do are like the very skateboarding-esque tricks where she's wall planting. But for me in my flying, I just want to always just be swooping. You're coming down, wait. How long can you wait before you bleed into the throttle? Wait.
Yeah.
And get off the throttle, and then now you're tossing it and you're weightless, and you feel that weightlessness while you're just holding the stick down, and you're just letting the momentum carry you. So that's the rush I get is building momentum, having momentum carry you, just that constant dance with gravity.
And the swooping.
So,
the swooping is important.
The definite swoop. That's a very technical term.
Yeah. Okay. There's a lot of photography drone people watching who just dismiss FPV, and I don't want to do that. If the joy you get from your FPV drone is the flying, not necessarily taking of the pictures and getting cinematic video and stuff. If it is the flying and you enjoy getting that bird's eye view, I would greatly urge people to try FPV, because it is FPV that, the video is great. The video is fun, and it proves that you did what you did. But as you can attest to, Ed, everybody watching, it's the closest a human can come to have an out-of-body actual flying like frickin' Superman or something flight.
It's out of body, and it's flow state on tap. Where else can you just, what else can you do that you can tap into that what they call flow state, where you're moving faster than you can think, and it's just all happening. It's, I don't know. You get it. I've done other hobbies, right? When I skateboarded, you get little tastes of flow state, or when you go driving on an autocross, a little taste here. But FPV, when you get locked in, you'll have just minutes on minutes of just like that amazing feeling and of movement and hand-eye coordination. So I think it's the best hobby. It takes a lot to get to that point.
I tell you, one of my favorite videos is one that you made maybe only a month ago. It was called Underground. I think it's called Underground FPV Freestyle Flow. I think that's one of my favorite videos that you've made, at least recently. It's amazing how fast you're moving, but also the flow that you're talking about, but also the color and the look of the footage. And I guess I'm getting a little technical here, but I was just wondering, did you color grade that footage, or did you? Okay, or that's not just. So did you like flat GoPro and then you added?
Yeah, I
your own
always
color
record
grade?
in flat. I always record in flat, and then I have just a couple LUTs that I've either some that I've downloaded, like Peter McKinnon. Which one is it? Kodak Killer works really well as just a go-to.
Okay.
Stick it on. You know, it's kind of a look I like, and I've made a couple other ones. But this was a color grade that I made. I like to push the highlights into the pink, and put the shadows a little blue, make the midtones a little more yellow, a little warmer, and then just kind of play with contrast. And then I do play a little bit like when you go into the parking garage. Sometimes if it was really dark, I'll actually do what do you call that, keyframe. I'll actually keyframe brightness up to bring in some of that detail. So I don't do that for all my footage. If it's just like a vlog, oftentimes I'll just slap on the LUTs, my go-to LUTs, and make it, just get the video out. But when I'm making a flight video, I'll spend just as much time, if not more, editing this 2-minute flight video as I will a 15-minute vlog. So that means all that extra time goes into like just obsessing over the color and which song I'm going to use. And like in that video, I did little animated ink stuff for transitions.
Okay.
Yeah.
And I'm also just wondering, real quick, that was DJI digital
Yes.
FPV system, because you cover
I've
a lot
been
of
flying
ground. And you
DJI
go through a lot of
exclusively.
different environments in that one. You cover a lot of ground, so that's impressive to see DJI hold up like that with the latency and everything. That's awesome.
It feels I don't want to light the internet on fire.
Uh-oh.
Just some decent whatever. People have differing opinions, and that's fine and all. But mine is that I get better penetration, better range with DJI.
Oh yeah.
So I don't think that I could have done this video exactly without on analog.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe, I don't know. I don't really care to try anymore. I just love the DJI system, and there are variable latency things, but you learn this skill where with analog, the worse your signal is, the less you can see. You get sort of that blockage, right?
Mm-hmm.
And you learn to kind of look through. Wait, okay, I can see that. Oh, and that's darker down there. That's gotta be the bottom, and that's got to be the sky. And okay, fine. Well, you learn. That becomes that sixth sense. Well, you learn a seventh sense with the DJI thing, where yes, the latency will start dropping, but you feel it happen, and you get to a point. At some of the furthest edges, yeah, the frame rate gets pretty low, but you get to a point where I know how fast I'm going, I know what angle I'm at. The screen froze for a second, but I know where I'm going to be. 1, 2, up. Image is back, and I'm right where I thought I would be, maybe off a little bit. But you start to sense it, and just as I think being able to fly through the snowy analog is like a skill that really helps with your flying, because you rely less on what you're seeing. You also get a skill from being able to push through some of those frame drops. It makes you more dependent on what I said is the most important thing to me, which is that momentum. You know your momentum, you know where you're going. So even if it freezes for a second, you just kind of wait for it to come back. But I mean, really complete freezes only. I mean, I've got to really push it to get to that point. So for that video, there were some points where it would drop a little bit, but it was always manageable. And it's a skill that I think you just learn. You get used to it. You adapt.
It's amazing how the brain can. It's amazing how the brain can, especially with analog, can ignore all of what's going on. And when somebody watches that analog feedback who was not flying, is like, how are you flying that?
How can you're like, oh, I don't even see it. It's like the Matrix. I don't see the woman in the red dress anymore. I just see ones and zeros. Right. But I think it's the same thing with digital. You don't. I don't really notice the latency anymore. I mean, and again, it's only when you're pushing it. So you also know, just like with analog, okay, if I go behind that third wall, it's about to get real black and white and grainy. Well, you know the same thing with digital. If I go behind another obstacle, I'm about to start, feeling that lag. So I'm going to prepare for it. So it just all becomes second nature.
I'll tell you what, going into the parking garage, you really start to appreciate the DJI FPV system. I made a little comparison a couple months ago where we went in a parking garage and it was analog versus DJI digital, and it was no contest. DJI wins every day going through parking garages. And I actually flew analog for the first time last Sunday. For the first time in a while, I was trying out the Digidaptor for the goggles. Nice. And it startled me at the beginning. I was like, wow, breakup. I haven't seen that in so long. But it's like it kind of came back to me. And Ken, you've started with analog and you went to digital. And of course, Drew, you have a long history with analog and you went to digital. So we all kind of know how that feels. But one thing I noticed is going back to analog, I think I might have a little more courage because it looks not so real. I'm able to separate myself from reality a little bit more. Whereas I see every little ripple of the water and every brick on that building and every shingle on that roof, and I'm more aware of my quads failing longevity, maybe? I don't know. What do you think about that?
I think there's definitely something to it, and I was never able to articulate, but I do think when I first started flying DJI, there was something to it. And I don't know what and I was like, what is it? There's just something that I don't, and I think that's what it is. It feels a little bit more real. So maybe you're a little bit less daring, but I don't know. I think I'm over it now. I don't feel that anymore at all. So I think you get past it. And now it feels even, more immersive because like you said, it is less disconnected from reality.
What do you think the next iteration of the DJI system will be? Will there be, the Air 2? I mean, of course they're going to have something better. What kind of improvements other than latency?
Develop it.
Yeah.
You know what I would love to see as far as the latency thing goes? I would love to see a mode that prioritizes latency, as far as possible, right? So, right now it's always a 720p feed. And you'll maybe drop frames, but I'd like to see a mode where it's like, don't ever change latency, even if my range is halved, even if my resolution drops sooner than it needs to. So for racers, you could say, okay, I'm going to be flying in this football field that I'm standing in front of. I'm not going to be needing to push the range or anything like that. So put it in latency lock mode, coining that now, put it in latency lock mode, and don't ever just do whatever you can. I don't care if it becomes looks like a mosaic. Just don't drop latency. So I'd like to see that. I'd like to see better HDMI out. The only solution that they have now is to use a Mavic 2 smart. Actually, I have one. A Mavic 2 smart controller that you can plug into the goggles, and that can provide HDMI out. But it just seems silly to have to buy a Mavic controller to get HDMI out. I'm like, just give me a dongle, or better yet, put an HDMI port right on the goggles. And then, of course, I think smaller could always be nicer, but I can't complain. I mean, because I just redesigned my frame to fit the full-size air unit, and those things are tanks. We've smashed them, bent them, dented them, put them underwater, caught them on fire. And in the, over a year now that I've been flying it, I've only killed 2.
That's pretty good odds.
I'm fine with that.
SC in the chat asked, besides DJI, are there any other companies that have digital goggles for FPV?
Well, so a digital receiver, because there are other goggles that support HD. Even the Fat Shark HDOs are a 720p resolution, but you need that capability to receive HD or to receive digital signal. And that's kind of one of the disappointing things. I think a lot of people still hold out hope that someday for some system there would be a module that could go in your standard analog modules that can receive digital, but it's just not going to happen because those module bays can't support digital. They can't support HD. You have to go in through the HDMI, which is why you see all the Bite Frost systems, they had to be plugged into the HDMI with a standalone thing or some add-on. Now it's not outside the realm of possibility that a goggle company could release an upgrade board that changes the pinout in the bay to make it support a digital input or an HD input, but in their current form, the standard module bays they can't support an HD input.
All right. I'm gonna in a minute. I want to get your opinion on remote ID and how it pertains to the FPV community. But along my list of videos that were really inspiring for me in the FPV world was the day that you flew through the implosion, and I'll just play a little bit of that for people who may not have seen it. This was absolutely, astonishingly freaking awesome. I love this a lot. Check this out.
6 in the morning. We're up so early because we've been invited to fly during a demolition of a power plant. Crazy. They're knocking down some towers. We're gonna dive it.
Oh, God.
Drew just pulled a freaking mind-blowing rabbit out of his hat. Hey, it sounded like gunfire that you felt in your freaking, in your lower abdomen. Like, and they say, oh, it's 3 big booms. No, it was a succession of 50 times 3.
Oh, we good, dog. We f***ing nailed it. Oh, I'm freaking out. That was the coolest thing I have ever flown. That was it right there.
Good job, man. I gotta see that video.
Oh my God, dude. Oh my God. Okay.
Yeah.
Questions galore. Why didn't you have 10 quads in the air?
Dude, they wouldn't. It was such a thing. I mean, oh man. So first off, that opportunity came to us 12 hours before the demolition.
Okay.
We get the call. They're like, building's coming down in 12 hours. Can you be in Jacksonville? Okay. I mean, we literally, an hour after getting the phone call, told Ashley, you're going to have to feed the cats. I'm leaving. Started driving. Stayed the night in the hotel and woke up early, on 4 hours of sleep, whatever. So, yeah, so it was very last minute opportunity. And on top of that, there was a big TFR, so you couldn't fly in that area at all.
Oh.
But they had secured a waiver with the FAA for just one drone. So on takeoff, I don't know if it was the actual FAA or I don't remember, but I had someone on the phone that I had to text right when I took off, and then there was also someone standing by that, okay, he's up in the air, and then I took off, and then when I landed, okay, I landed, okay, he's down on the Eagle has landed. Wow. So it was a pretty big to-do. I didn't see this happen myself, I heard that some of the news outlets had their DJI drones up, and that about 5 minutes before the demolition, when the TFR went into effect, they all autonomously landed.
Oh, wow.
And they were like, no.
Yeah, right.
I don't know if that's true. I don't know if that's true or just something the crew was talking about, but pretty funny. So yeah, there was only one drone, and they made the call to let it be the FPV guy, which was awesome.
How did you time it? How did you time it? Did they say, okay, go now? Because it looks like the route you took was perfect, because you got the building coming in the corner of and then you got the, I know you probably wished you could go under it as it was falling, or no?
That was where I was going for. So hurdle number one was we could only have one drone. When ideally, I would have wanted the squad. Okay, get as many drones as we can, get all the different angles. So that was hurdle number one. Hurdle number two was they wouldn't let me do any practice runs, which honestly, as the pilot in command, made me uneasy. And I really felt that, okay, you want a safe operation, you should let me do practice runs. But ultimately, I mean, what's really at risk? What am I gonna hurt with my little drone? You know, so it's the only thing at risk is the drone itself. So really, okay, are you willing to lose your drone for this shot because you're not getting any practice runs? Yes, I am. So no practice runs. All I was told was that there's going to be a countdown, and at 3 they stop counting, and then it blows when it would be 1. So I just kind of guessed how far away I am. They started counting down from 30, and I think I just picked a number. I was like, that looks like a 14-second cruise.
Okay.
So when they said 14, I took off, and that's when I went for it. And then, I was just getting to the building when the number stopped, and so then in my head, I'm like, 3, 2, here we go. And because the shot I wanted the dive. More than anything else, I wanted to just be looking down the face of the building when it blew up. And so then again, going back to the fact that we could only have 1 drone, they were bringing down the building, and they were knocking down the tower all in one go. So ideally, at minimum, I would have wanted 2 drones. You take the tower, you take the building, you know, but I had to try and do it all myself. I wish I had just committed to 1. I got really greedy and said, I'm going to dive the building as it comes down, and then I'm going to race and shoot under the tower as it falls.
Right.
But actually, the tower, while it was supposed to fall parallel to the building, it went at a little bit of an angle when it's supposed to. So I could have made it. So I came out of the dive, and as I'm looking at it, I'm like, I think that's at an angle, and I won't make it because it's coming. It's not going to happen. So then I had to jerk and pull up. So, you know, I do wish I had gotten a better shot of the building as it actually came down. But, you know, you can go on YouTube, and there's a bunch of there's a handful of people that park their Mavic, and you can see the building come down. I wanted to dive it when the fire came out, so it's a win in my book.
What frame rate were you shooting on the GoPro?
120.
Okay.
So, I didn't realize there was crazy jello when the explosions happened. So that I did test fly the drone the night before and everything, make sure there's no jello. But you don't see there's really any jello in the FPV feed. But as soon as these explosions happen, there was some pretty, you have to look for it.
Yeah, a little bit.
There were some pretty significant vibrations in the air from the explosions because you felt it in your chest.
Yeah.
So it was really disrupting the flight controller, and I think the 120 really accentuated that. Thankfully, when you slowed it down, you don't see those vibrations or that jello. But yeah, I wanted the slow-mo, and I think it paid off. And then this part, just flying through the clouds after, was one of the just most serene things that was immediately following one of the most intense experiences. So, you know, like I said, I took off at 14, and so that 14 seconds felt like an eternity, and like my muscles were spasming, like my lower back was like, I was like so stressed. And then you get the shot, and then you're just cruising in the clouds, and it was like, oh wow.
Yeah, that relief.
Wow.
Yeah.
I cruised the whole battery. I flew for 3 minutes just around the clouds.
Just
Just
like,
yeah, this is amazing.
So has this opened up the door for any other demolitions or anything? Certainly other companies have seen it and want that kind of footage, right?
The company we did it with said this was amazing. Can't wait to have you back. I've touched base with them a few times. They keep saying we're gonna do it. Just hasn't happened yet. So it's supposedly, yeah, we've gotten calls, but no one's pulled it off. You know, I think getting the waivers and all that's a bit of a hassle. And then they say, well, do we really want to, you know, if I can only get 1 drone in the air, do I want to blow it on a GoPro this guy's gonna try and dive the tower, or do I want to put up a 4K Phantom that I know is gonna get a nice wide angle shot? So they usually go the conservative route. So I'm really thankful that we got in contact with a company that was willing to take the risk and use their 1 drone waiver on the FPV crazies.
That was great. That was just fantastic.
Yeah.
Ed, did you have anything else to add? You look like you wanted to add something.
Well, it's a great video. No, I was going to ask a question, but it was moving on with the topic. But yeah, no, I remember seeing that video. I remember seeing that the people who were running the safety checks and kind of like the briefing were very serious. I remember you included that in the video, and I was kind of surprised. I'm just kind of surprised that they take it so seriously with the drones like that, but I guess I understand. My question, I guess I was just gonna, something I wanted to ask you before, before this all ended is, I see a lot of people who are trying to grow their YouTube channels with FPV content, and a lot of people are struggling to get the viewership that they're hoping for. And Ken and I, we grew our channels with camera drones and other stuff like that, but we already had somewhat of a subscriber base before we started FPV, and so it's relatively easy for us to transition and to still get some viewership and some interaction. But with someone who's maybe just they got the chops, they fly great, and they're putting out flight videos, but they're not seeing the traction that maybe other pilots enjoy. What kind of way? What are some ways that FPV pilots can stand out these days and maybe get their content seen?
Well, I think it's kind of the same ideas with any YouTube channel, which is know your audience, define an audience, know that audience, and serve that audience. And I don't always follow these rules, and I think my channel suffers as a result. But you just have to balance your desire for channel success versus your own, creative desires. So I've been making videos on my channel lately about modifying cars. The view count on those are abysmal compared to my normal content. No one wants to see that, but I want to make those videos, so I'm just doing it anyway. So that's my call. That's my call to, have my channel perform worse. So know what your audience, who they are, and how you can serve them. So now we're talking to FPV YouTubers specifically. So that answers your question. Who's your audience? All right, FPV pilots. What do they want to see? Well, just think about what you want to see. Like, what videos do you actually click on? And most of the time, it's going to be something that you walk away having experienced something new or learned something. So if you want to pick an easy way out, I'd say give them information, provide information in an entertaining way. I think that's why the review channels and the educational channels do so well. And that's not to say that that's easy. To deliver good educational content or good product overview content is very difficult, and it takes a special type of person, which is why even though I know that it works, I don't really do that because I don't enjoy it in the same way that someone like Joshua Bardwell just loves taking complex things and putting it in layman terms and helping people understand things better, and that's why he's been so successful. So serve your audience. So what can you teach them? You could teach them how to fly. Like on my channel, my trick tutorial videos do very well, and that's something I do enjoy doing, and I should do more of. So share knowledge, share experience, and try new things. You want to build that connection, and once you have that connection, once you have an audience that has connected with you and has subscribed, then you can do things that are just more relatable, more kind of personal experience. If you want to get into like the vlogging or something like that, but it's like so going back to Bardwell. I don't want to pick on Josh, but
but he loves his beta flight, doesn't he? I mean, oh my God,
he does. He's not so he's not the most amazing pilot, but I love watching him fly because I know who he is. He's a great friend, and even before he was a great friend, I was a big fan of his videos. And so anytime he put out a flight video, I was like, ooh, I want to see Bardwell fly. Like, that's cool. So it's harder than ever to get a following just on pilot skill. You're going to need to have some badass. Actually, Bardwell and I just did an FPV scoring video like a couple months ago. As far as just FPV piloting goes, getting a following just from your straight up flight video, you're going to want to be like a 20 or higher on that scale. You got to have a banging location. You got to be flying next level stuff. Your production level has to be there. People might say, oh, it used to be easier to get a following doing FPV. Well, no, that's not true, because just doing FPV was so much harder. So back in the day, it was so difficult to get the drone to fly well, to get a tune that could actually handle a smooth split S, that the 10 pilots that could do that could do a smooth split S, they rocketed to the top. Well, now defaults fly great. You can put a quad together, flash beta flight, fly the default rates and PIDs, and you can fly pretty damn well if you have the skill to back it up. So there's amazing pilots now. The drones all fly good. So now the bar has been raised, but that doesn't mean it's more difficult. It's just that the challenge has changed. You don't need to worry so much about the tune. You got to worry more about, getting access to that awesome location, doing some sort of next level trick, and, coming up with new production tricks. But yeah, the bar's always going to keep going up. So, yeah, it is kind of harder than ever to just be a straight up FPV pilot. You're going to have to do something with your flight videos differently. Or like I said, I think the better solution is offer something as a person, offer something educational, or do reviews, things like that, something that people watch because they want to learn something.
People invest in the personality of the presenter as well. If you love what you're doing, then people will watch what you love. So
I guess just no one cares about your B-roll. No one watches a video because, oh, that guy's got awesome B-roll. People don't watch Peter McKinnon because he's got amazing B-roll. They watch because he breaks it down. He shows you how to do that, because he leads an interesting life, because he's funny, because he's creative and he's relatable. So he's just an awesome vlogger, and he shares that personality. And the B-roll is nothing but icing and sprinkles on top of the cake. But you got to have a cake, because I'll get people asking, oh, I'm not getting views on my channel, so I want to get a better camera. I'm like, don't do that. That's just doesn't matter. Get views just shooting with your iPhone.
Right. You can't buy talent.
You can't.
No.
If the minimum though is have audible audio.
Yeah.
Clear audio, and have your image in focus. So seriously, just use a GoPro with an external mic. That's all you need. You don't need fancy gear. You don't need fancy editing. Just be relatable, be interesting, be informative.
And I would say commit some time to it, because it's not going to happen in a week either.
Oh yeah. No, people don't it's serious. You want to make one good video, you got to make 100 bad ones first. Like, you got to just power through some really rough, cringy videos.
Yeah,
you never know which one's going to pop, You
that's
might
true.
be spending a ton of time editing one, thinking it's going to be the one, and it isn't. And then something you put together in, 2 hours maybe, or even half an hour, takes off. You never even know what's going to happen on
Big
YouTube.
Time. Big time.
Well, we appreciate your insight into the FPV community. One more thing before we go. Well, two more things. We're going to do a Would You Ride It segment where I let you see some wacky contraption people are riding in. But just very quickly, give me your take. Give us your take on remote ID and how it's going to affect the FPV community, because I know there's a lot of people worried about it. But even if something happens, it's not going to happen for quite some time, and it will be gradual. Do you agree?
Where to begin with this? So first off, the current proposal is infuriating in how it's so oblivious to FPV, and it's so ass backwards, in that the problematic drones, sorry to most of your audience, are the GPS assisted drones that are very easy to fly. The recreational drones historically have caused very little, if no incidents. Oh, there was that one.
Oh, that one, yeah.
That one Vegas.
Yeah.
But if you're building the bar to entry, when you've built your drone and to be able to fly in acro mode without GPS is such a barrier to entry. You're not doing the stupid stuff. So that's why it makes me so angry that the remote ID proposal actually makes it easier than ever to go buy a drone, so long as it has remote ID on it. So go buy that Mavic as long as it has remote ID built in, no problem. Fly. Apparently now you're allowed to fly it miles away. That's cool. But the people that haven't been causing the problems, and frankly the people that have actually innovated the space, made this possible, come up with the next level of technology, the ones that are DIYing, building it in their basement, those people are punished. Those people that have operated safely for years, building and operating their drones safely, well, you can't do that anymore. I mean, the current proposal offers no acceptable solution for building remote ID into your drone. Even if you do build your own drone and build remote ID capability into it yourself, you're still stuck in FRIAs, which that's a laughable concept in that there's a limited number at the onset of the rule going into effect, and you can't get any more. So it's an intentionally diminishing number of FRIAs.
Yeah.
That is basically, that was just thrown out there to placate. Well, we'll let you fly them until they don't exist anymore. It's just, I could go on and on about how bad it is, but in summation, there's really no way for us to continue doing the FPV hobby as we know it today. And that doesn't mean it's going to end. We'll always adapt. It'll always find a way. I would really like to see some changes though made before it inevitably goes into effect. I really, there's a number of easy solutions. A higher weight limit. I mean, give us up to 750 kilograms, and that's going to cover most all of our freestyle drones, and we can carry on. And I really don't think that 700. Sorry, did I say kilograms? Excuse me. 750 grams. Raise that from 250, and let us have at it. Great. Give us a very low altitude that we can fly within. I mean, hell, if I'm below 100 feet anywhere, there's no threat to manned aircraft. It's just not a problem. Most all of our FPV flights are done at very low altitude, easily within 100 feet of the ground or even 100 feet of obstacles. So I would really like to see a shielded operation provision where essentially, okay, let's say I'm in a parking lot and I've got some 60-foot buildings around me. Yeah, I can definitely fly below the tops of those buildings because there's no Boeing coming between the buildings.
Right.
And you can probably even give me 100 foot on top of the buildings because there shouldn't be a Boeing within 100 foot of a building. That just shouldn't be happening. So I'd like to see a weight a raising of the weight exemption, a provision for shielded operations, or even a licensing exemption. I will happily take a test. I did my Part 107 pain in the butt. It's fine. It was worth it. And let's do it again. Give us heavier licensing. So I get that some rule has to go into place, but just the current proposal, I think it's frankly borderline unconstitutional. I mean, I know that sounds like hyperbole, but really it's some of the implications of this thing and how a government agency whose job is to traffic control the skies is going to attempt to restrict trade and commerce, saying like, hey, it's illegal to buy these certain parts. Like, what? It's just wild. There's so many crazy implications.
I mean,
of that.
if you consider FPV an art, then that's a form of expression, and that can be translated into free speech, I guess.
Well, I mean, yeah, you don't even have to get that wild. Yeah, I've heard a lot of the wild things. Oh, we'll say it's a religion, which I'm all for. I mean, I'm legit. Let's just form a church of FPV and use the nation's weirdest loophole against itself. But even aside from that, I mean, just in the plain writing, the proposal is attempting to restrict what components you can buy. Like it's odd, dude. It is weird stuff. I mean, we got clarification of them saying that it would be illegal to essentially have a drone without remote ID. So even if you're flying that inside, it's still prohibited by this new rule. Like,
no,
we got word from an FAA representative saying yes, this would actually prohibit indoor flying if you're not equipped with remote ID. But remote ID probably wouldn't work indoors, so you probably just can't fly indoor. Period. Like it's wild.
That's cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs, man.
I'm not making it up. It's wild.
So ultimately, 10 years from now, do you think manufacturers will be up to speed on creating whatever needs to be created to make this happen, or is it going to be a world of
created?
I mean, I don't know. Whatever we
don't even know because all these rules are written around technology that doesn't. I mean, it's just it feels like a joke.
Yeah.
That so many these rules are created around technology that doesn't even exist. Like, well, in the future when flying cars are around, we'll have skylanes. Like, what are you talking about? Like, this doesn't exist.
Yeah.
So simultaneously, we're writing the rules, creating the technology to support those. It's bananas. But assuming all of that, our manufacturer's going to figure it out. I'm like, well, dude, we figured out how to FPV in the first place. How crazy is that? Okay. We'll figure it out.
Yeah.
I mean, not me. I'm not that smart. But
No,
someone will figure it out.
I imagine
I'll help however I can.
there'll be a lot of holdouts. There'll be people, I'm just gonna fly till I get caught, or there's gonna be a lot of people who just flout the law and don't care. And I'll probably be one of those.
I mean, frankly, I'll go on record saying that the rules, as they're written now in the current proposal, I have no intention of following. I will absolutely be practicing civil disobedience. I will break the rules every day, and I will harm no one because I've been doing this for years, and it has never posed any threat whatsoever to air safety. Okay, could I smash into a window? Not that I have, but could I? Yeah, but that's between me and the property owner, because I could do that same damage with a baseball. I like to think of baseball when I think of, like, can I FPV here? Okay, could I play baseball in this parking lot? Yeah, I mean, probably could. And if you break that window with your baseball, you're probably gonna have to pay for it. So you break that window with your drone, you're probably gonna have to pay for it.
You're right. I think all this stuff, this regulation is coming from the knuckleheads who are flying their Phantom 4s near police helicopters and airports and things like that. And that's, they're trying to regulate common sense, which is not possible.
Ideally, I want a shielded operations provision, which I like to call a Trevor Bauer clause. So I'm not much into sports ball, but I do know Trevor is a pitcher for the stickball team in Ohio, I think. Is he on the Cleveland team? Either way, he's a pitcher, and he flies FPV. He's a really nice guy. I've flown with him a couple times. And I like to think if I could, the hand of God could pluck Trevor Bauer and put him on any surface, whether it's in the top of a tree or on the top of a building, and Trevor Bauer could throw a baseball up wherever Trevor's baseball could go, we should be able to fly there. Because if Trevor could throw a baseball and hit your helicopter, you shouldn't be flying there. So I should be able to fly my drone there.
Bravo. That's a great
clause, aka the Trevor Bauer exemption.
I like that. Everybody write your congressman about that.
Yeah.
All right. So before we let you go, we do a segment called Would You Write It? Where it's some wacky contraption that usually looks like it's going to chop you off at the knees. Some homemade project where idiots are riding in something. Well,
innovators.
You're right. I apologize to the innovators. But this week's Would You Write It is from a Chinese entrepreneur. They've developed a double-seat mini helicopter, which, as he claims, can change police aviation and rescue operations in the south of China. So that's this week's Would You Ride It. Let me know in the chat if you would ride this. I'm a no.
Oh, geez.
On this.
Not even a face shield?
No. The person in the back, no helmet or... Now here's something. The drone operator, they've hired somebody to film it, and they just suck.
Yeah, right.
So the second drone, I'm glad they picked a good pilot for the passenger drone. But Drew, would you ride that thing?
More than some of the other crazy things, but I'm still gonna have to pass. I would say the minimum thing I would consider riding would be if, I need to know that it's impossible for me to come in the arc of the propellers. So I need to be so restrained that even in a crash, I can't flop into the prop line. So that's the absolute minimum that I would ever even consider it. But beyond that, you really want to see some sort of caging so that if the prop bursts apart, the shrapnel doesn't go flying through your abdomen.
That's true. That's true. One of those props fly off, they're going to be bifurcated for sure.
Yeah.
People
and those are probably carbon fiber props.
Oh yeah.
So those will mess you up.
Old man and New Trick says he'd give it a crack. We got hell no. We got nope. We got a big nope. We got sure, I'll try it. I don't know. Ed, what do you think?
I feel like they just faded out before he hit the building. He got really close to that building, and they just conveniently faded out the video. No, I don't get why the passengers. Every passenger there has no protective equipment. The pilot has it for some reason. The helmet. No, I think it's ridiculous. I get that they're trying to develop something, and so I understand. All the safety practices may not be in place, but that's just that's nuts. And how loud is that? You'd need some sort of earplugs or something. Can you imagine how loud that would be?
Yeah, it's probably prohibitively loud.
Not pleasant.
Well, hey, Drew, thank you.
I don't really see the fascination with manned multi-rotors. I must be missing something. I don't really get why.
Because it's cool. I mean, these millionaires who want to fly from
manned rotor things exist. They're called helicopters.
Yeah. Yeah, right? They're proven.
Yeah.
Yeah. The one I've seen is made by E-Hang, and it has an enclosed canopy, and I mean, if I had to, gun to the head, I might ride that thing. Not an acro mode.
Yeah, I would ride a closed canopy thing.
Yeah. Over water.
There was something floating on Facebook. It was a guy who was on a single seat, something like that, and he ended up, I don't know if the barometer or something failed, and he ended up crashing, and it kind of fell on top of him. I don't think he was cut, but that was something floating around on Facebook recently. So something very similar to that. Of course, he actually had the protective gear.
We've seen some pretty crazy rigs, but I'm like, well, have you ever actually seen someone hurt yet? Like, I'm surprised we haven't seen someone killed in a manned multi-rotor.
There was one in Dubai that we shared last week, where it was
someone did.
Yeah, it was like a motorcycle thing, but he landed just right. I mean, he was up a good. That's the one you were talking about, Ed, with the bad barometer.
Oh, was that it?
In Dubai? Yeah, it was that cycle-looking one, but he landed just right, so he wasn't injured. But no,
he wasn't injured. Oh, okay.
No.
Yeah.
I mean, his pride was hurt, and the thing was damaged.
Yeah.
But anyway, Drew, thank you so much for taking time out. I hope to one day just come hang out with you and maybe absorb some of your FPV power.
Do it. Love to get you down here to Florida.
All right.
Be on some episodes.
Yeah, man, that'd be fun. And
collabs.
Tell Zoe I said hey, because I'm just absolutely impressed with her. Awesome.
Yeah. Well, will you have her on the show? I know she wanted to.
Yes.
Talked about it.
Yes.
So hopefully Zoe will be a future guest.
Give her my digits.
I will.
All right. Thank you so much, Drew.
All right. Thanks for being on. Take care.
All right. See you, bud.
Yeah.
Awesome. And I could talk to him for hours upon hours.
Yeah, that's great that you had him on. I've been watching him on YouTube for, I guess, around the time that I started, maybe shortly after. I think I learned my first power loop. He had a video of him flying in a parking lot at night, and was showing the proper way to do a smooth power loop. And that's always kind of been something that stuck with me. So I think about that on occasion. Very cool.
Yeah.
Thanks for having him on, Ken. That's
you
awesome.
bet. One of the great. You getting tired? Because this has turned out to be one of the longer streams, but we still have a few things we got to do. Not the least of which is we need to do a 7th inning stretch and head on into the Raz chamber. Ed, you've been in the Raz chamber before, haven't you?
I recall. Yeah. Yep. This looks familiar.
All right. Well, you just step on in here, Ed, and
What do I do?
Strip down to your skivvies.
Is that you touching? Wait. Whoa.
Oh goodness.
Whoa.
Oh, a thong. That's a brave look on you, Ed.
Let me step back a little bit here.
Yes, this is a safe place.
So what do we do?
Well, it's just we recenter ourselves. All the stress of the day just floats away and is absorbed by the purple and blue goo.
Okay, so I should forget about that road rage earlier?
Yes, just let it melt away as all the goo just perforates all the orifices. Even the good places.
It's definitely entering the crevasses, all of them, yeah.
Down between your toes.
Oh, those, yes.
Yes. But there is one rule, Ed.
What's that?
And there's no farting in the Raz. Oh, Agent K. Agent K farted in the Raz. Shame on you, Agent K. All right, I see him in the chat. So, thanks everybody
We're gonna stay in there longer. That's all right.
Yeah. Okay. Oh, yeah. Well, it's just a brief little thing. I mean, you can get addicted to the RAS, and then you have to go to the support group, which is no fun. Thank you very much. We've got a few super chats while Drew was on. Andy Harlan with a $5 super chat. And Really FPV and $5 super chat. Thank you. Drew Love crashing the CL1 great frame. And Redbeard the pilot. We refer to those as aspirational requirements, referring to something that we were speaking about before. So now I'm sure we've lost all of our photography drone people, but I do have some videos here that I would like to share.
Okay, let's do it.
All right.
And I don't think you lost them.
No,
I mean, I think I see some people in the chat.
Are we good?
No.
We still having fun,
hey,
everybody?
Drones are drones, guys.
You're right.
Drones. If it looks beautiful and it's a skilled pilot, then hey, we all appreciate that.
Heck yeah. It's flying cameras, man.
Yes.
Flying cameras. We all love them.
Does
Okay.
that have a camera on it? That's what everyone asks whenever they see me flying a drone. Does that have a camera? I'm like, yeah, it has two.
Yeah.
Anyway,
There'd
go
be
on, Ken.
no
Go on.
point
What
to
do
it
you
if it didn't have a camera on it, ma'am, because then I wouldn't be able to spy on you. Oh, did I say? Oh, sorry. So, you guys remember Never Mind Your Own, Peter? He was on like show number 12, and people were wondering if he's dead because he hadn't been posting for a while, but he's back. He is alive.
Okay.
And his friend
good.
Peter, they're both named Peter. He says, "Dear Ken, I sent you this video from my Dutch friend. His name is Peter as well. Never mind your own. It's great in several ways. It's about the Skydio 2 drone, which he got hand carried from the United States since it can't be imported into Europe yet. It is the cinematic views of the country and autopilot and the subject/stars an American car." From Peter. So this is a clip from Never Mind Your Own using a Skydio 2.
Okay.
And it's a cool shot of a car. Enjoy. An American car in the Netherlands.
Ah, yes, there's the Skydio 2 in action.
Mm-hmm. You know, if he didn't tell me it was the Skydio 2, I would totally be able to tell it was the Skydio 2 just by the video.
Oh, yeah?
That was wonderful. It was short and sweet.
You know, that's one thing that the Skydio 2 gives you confidence. If you need to get some shot like that, you're kind of running along with the road, and you know trees are coming up or, you know, buildings or whatever, Skydio 2 is more than likely going to take care of you. That's awesome.
Unless you're filming your motorcycle and there's some overhead wires, then you can run into...
Oh, that's true. That's true.
Yeah,
you got a point there, Ken.
I broke a Skydio 2. By the way, that's all taken care of. Skydio 2 replaced it. I sent it to our buddy in New Zealand. He's got all his stuff. It took a while, but he finally got it, I think just yesterday, in fact.
Okay.
Do you know how much shipping is to New Zealand?
Oh, man. I mean, probably, what, half the price of the drone?
It's a lot.
Say that.
It's a lot. So thank you for the super chats. I appreciate it.
Yeah, reimburse that.
This next one is from a guy called named Clive, and he has some Hawaii footage for us. He says, "Aloha, Ken. First off, got to tell you how much I love your channel. Thank you, Clive. Dealing with all the terrible natural disasters we have had here in Hawaii over the past 4 years, I live a half mile from Fissure 8, which was responsible for the greatest destruction. It was always claiming to watch one of your videos and escape into one of your zany exploits. I watched your last video on the Mavic Mini being wind tested and thought you might be interested to watch the wind test a friend and I did over on Hawaiian names, Molokai. Some pretty hairy winds. You won't believe it. Mahalo, Clive. Okay? So here is some Hawaiian winds and the Mavic Mini.
Famous last words. See ya.
You ever been to Hawaii, Ed?
I never have. Oh, wow. All of a sudden, yeah, when he comes up there, you can really see the trees are blowing.
Yeah.
You know, the Mavic Mini can handle the wind. It really can. We've done some high-speed wind tests in Colorado. We were up at 12,000 feet AGL and was breezy up there. At least the thing took off. But, wow, okay, you can really see the wind flowing through those trees.
Yeah, the problem with the Mini is it'll hold its place, but it'll yell at you. I want to land. I want to land. So
It's smooth though. Look at that.
Yeah, the Mini is so impressive for a teeny tiny light drone.
Yeah.
Look at that. It's like in a freaking hurricane. Good old Mini.
See, at that point, you got to make a decision. Yeah, do you just land on the ground and risk maybe it tipping over? And is that rain? Oh, it's all wet. That's mud.
Yeah. Now, then he took it down from above to a waterfall.
Okay.
You're a ballsy pilot.
More wind.
No doubt about it. This is what Chris flew into. Right over there.
If we don't make it back, it'll take us a video on that screen. You see that? Look at this stuff, man.
So he's saying, I still have the video, even if I don't make it back.
Yeah. Well, I was going to say, that's one of those things where you take 3 micro SD cards, and then you put one in the drone, you fly for a minute, come back, and then swap it out, and just make sure that you don't lose that 2.7K footage. I've made that mistake a few times where I broke a GoPro, or for some reason my footage didn't record, and I think, man, I should have offloaded that SD card.
Yeah.
But that's awesome. That's crazy footage. That waterfall was amazing.
Thanks for sending that in. If you want to send something in, you can send it here, kenheronupload@gmail.com. Make sure you include what you use for your music source so that YouTube doesn't get its digital panties in a bunch and give me a warning. I'm sure I'm going to get some warnings from tonight. But
yeah, you said it's already kind of too late for you, isn't it?
Yeah, I've already kind of...
That's all right. That's all right.
Yeah, All right, so... So we're about to play the viewer video of the week, but before we do that, just wanted to do a quick contest and giveaway, because we haven't done one yet tonight, all right? So the prize I have tonight, and I'm going to let you pick a winner, Ed. Say, pick me in the chat, and Ed is just going to pick a winner. That's it. So tonight, the prize is, and I'm sure you've heard of this is the Fly or Flee. This is the dropper system.
Flee.
Yeah, this is one for a Phantom 4. So if you have a Phantom 4 and you want to win this right now, I have had this for 3 years.
Wow, okay.
Yeah. Now, I have a company that sent me a new type of drone dropper that I'm going to be doing a video soon. It's called the Skyhook. But for now, it's the Flee Fly. If you want to win this, if you have a Phantom 4, Ed right now is going to pick the winner.
Okay,
now,
so what I'm going to do in the chat. Oh, go ahead. Do you have a method?
I was going to say it might help if you were to compliment Ed in some way. Talk about his electric smile, the way his skin just glows, something like that. Compliment his hair. Maybe he'll pick the best compliment.
I don't take bribes or anything, but no. By the way, I've used that Flee quite a bit. Chris Rollins and I. That was back when I met Chris Rollins for the first time. We used the Flee. All right, so here we go. We got some going on, and what I'm going to do is just mouse over. Okay, so this is legit.
Yeah.
Tater Rogers.
Oh, Tater
Rogers.
Wow. Okay.
That was completely random. I closed my eyes and then I just scrolled, and whatever my mouse hit, it was Tater Rogers.
Well, congratulations, Tater, to you and his youngin'. He calls his kid Tater Tot. Isn't that funny? Congratulations, Tater.
I assume that blue wrenches can win. The blue, the tool, the
I mean,
the moderator's way. I mean,
I mean, it's a little bit of nepotism, but hey, I left it up to Ed, so don't blame me, blame Ed.
Is fair.
Fair is fair. All right. So in an effort to keep this stream under 3 hours, let's go ahead and just pick a viewer video of the week. Again, if you would like to send in a video for consideration, you can send it here, kenheronupload@gmail.com. If you want to send me something in the mail, and people have done that, I haven't checked my P.O. box in a while. It's Ken Heron, Box 1281, Huntington, Tennessee, 38344 in the U.S. of A. All right. Oh, yeah. So I want to thank Freewell Filters for providing the prize tonight. Someone will win a set of Freewell filters. These are fantastic filters from freewellgear.com. Please check out their website. Tell them I sent you. This is the one for the Osmo Action. These are high quality items. And
definitely. Those are really good. I actually tried those with my Osmo Action, and they're quality. I love them.
They really are. And freewellgear.com has been providing the Viewer Video of the Week prize for a very long time, and we thank them so much. So the winner is Tater Roger. No, it's not. No. It's Rick Williamson.
Right on.
Congrats, Rick Williamson.
Hey.
Congrats. And this is a pretty interesting video. He says, Ken, North Carolina is home to the only remaining steel blimp hangar built during World War II. And I got some video of it for you with a little bit of narration. Hope you enjoy it. Rick Williamson. And it is this week's Viewer Video of the Week. Enjoy.
North Carolina is home to the only remaining steel blimp hangar built during World War II. It was constructed from 1941 to 1942 in a nationwide effort to build a lightweight air fleet of blimps that would be instrumental in spotting German U-boats. The fact that it is still standing and also in operation in the private sector is amazing. When it opened in 1942, this massive structure had room for 12 Navy K-class blimps, each an average of 250 feet long and approximately 50 feet in diameter. Today, the building that remains is the only one of its kind, the only steel blimp hangar from World War II in the U.S. The original facility also contained a second wooden hangar that burned down in 1995. The wooden building was added during the height of World War II when there was a shortage of steel. As we turn from the original structure, you can see where the location of the second wooden hangar was built. And this is all that remains from it today.
Wow.
That's pretty impressive. You know, I'm a good old North Carolinian boy. I didn't know that. And that's a good example of what Drew was saying about, you know, you can be, you can have entertainment, but you can also be informative. And so the voiceover and the history behind that blimp hangar is pretty cool.
Oh yeah,
Awesome
little history nugget. We all love learning about history, and I did not know about that either. I mean, the scale of that place. You see the cars and everything. It's immense.
I want to fly there.
Yeah, how far away is that from you? You should do that.
I did not pick up on exactly where that was. What was that town or city?
I can't remember, but I bet you could.
I could look it up.
I bet you could do a Google Earth search and just see it from space. It's so big.
I'm sure you could. It holds 12 blimps.
Yeah.
I thought, I was like, wow, that's a big blimp, but no, okay, it holds 12. I got
Do you think that they would let you fly FPV in there? It's inside. What could the FAA say, right?
That was my first thought. Yeah, exactly. They can't say much, that's for sure.
That'd be awesome.
I'll let you know. Maybe that's an upcoming video.
All
Very
right.
cool. I'll connect with him and see how he got permission to get there.
Cool.
Very
Cool. Again, I just wanted to mention very quickly the little event I'm trying to put together. UFPV people, everybody's invited. It's totally free. It's the What the FPV at Mindfield in Brownsville, Tennessee on August 22nd. Saturday, August 22nd. That's my birthday. So if you could all come out and film the place. It's Tennessee's largest metal sculpture. Have you seen it, Ed?
Oh, I saw your video. Yeah, it's impressive.
Okay, yeah. And the sculptor is very excited to have the FPV community out there. So I hope you put that on your calendar. Mindfield, August 22nd, Saturday, my birthday. All right.
Yeah, it's about a 10-hour drive for me, but if I'm gonna go, I think I'm gonna drive. I've tried to fly with FPV equipment, and it's never been a good experience. I've either damaged my radio with security, or I couldn't bring everything I wanted to, and I was making sacrifices. So I think it might be worth the drive, Ken.
Yeah, just pack it up and get in your car and send it, as they say.
Yes, perfect.
Well,
perfect.
Thanks everybody. It was a long yet fun show.
We hope you enjoyed the show half as much as you would have if it had been twice as good.
Man, I hope that we have some new FPV viewers. If you like what you saw, stick around, tell a friend, thank you so much to Scott Vanderpool. I hope your shot drone all gets worked out and you put that dude in jail at least for 1 year. Jason Shappert, we appreciate you and your expertise. RemotePilot101.com. Heron18 for 30% off. Also, Andre and Daniel from Stuttgart, Germany. Thanks so much for being on. And, of course, Drew Camden, LeDrib. Links to everybody in the description. Thank you, Ed, for co-hosting tonight. It was so fun.
Oh, geez. Well, thank you for having me. We were talking about this earlier. This is the 7th time that I've been on your show, Thursday Night Live, Ken.
The 7th
That's
time
awesome.
in 151 shows?
Yes, and I enjoy that it went so long. I suppose this is past my bedtime these days, but I'll stay up for you, Ken, and I'll talk about drones all day. So no problem here, Ken.
All right,
we seem to have gotten a lot of people still in the chat, so that's awesome. I appreciate everyone sticking around, and yeah.
All right, well let's
having
just
me.
keep on going then. 24-hour stream. No.
Oh, okay. Well, there
No?
you go.
Okay. Thanks, Ed.
I start
Appreciate
getting a
it.
little cut from those super chats then.
Yeah,
No,
you
no,
bet.
It's all good.
Until next
Hey,
time.
all right.
Thanks for
again.
watching. Thanks for subscribing. Buh.
And bye.
And that's it. Yeah. Hold on. Now I got to
See
push
ya.
the buttons. Oh, this is such a
I'll let
graceful exit. Here
I'll
we
let
go.
you hang me up.
Yeah, I'll hang you up. Hang on. Stand
All
by.
right.
The killer can process meat. Enjoy pigeon jerky. Pigeon jerky. And you give your family a treat. It's balanced nutrition to help them grow. And it's full of fiber to make them grow. You enjoy pigeon jerky. Pigeon jerky. A killer can process meat. Yeah. That was so funny.